Well, hello everybody. Welcome to the show today. Very happy to have you here and happy Easter. It is the day of the
Ah,
Eastering. Easter.
it
Yeah.
is probably closer to the day Jesus was born than when he died, but it
Oh
is
yeah,
the
definitely.
day that we celebrate the resurrection of the Lord Jesus Christ, of himself, the man himself.
Oh, it
Good
is.
day,
It
Mister.
is. It is.
Good day.
And that actually, based on the story, whether it be Isis of Petra or what have you, actually fits to the story. We actually have a historical precedent because he literally entered on Good Friday, right?
Yeah.
So this is more accurate than a lot of other stuff that the Catholic Church over the time tried to put a date on, right?
Hmm.
That is true. We do have historical precedent for that. But you know, yeah, I don't know why but well, I know why they put his birthday in Christmas because the Catholic Church always wants to take over the pagan stuff, which I don't
Yeah.
know. You gotta make a decision which is better, the insidious behind the scenes trying to subvert your culture and ideas by lies and coercion, or join us or
Mm.
die. You pick one. I don't know. They're both bad, but whatever. Easter is Easter,
Yeah.
and he was probably born in May, actually. But you're right,
Right.
closer to, because we know when Roman the census were done, which is why Joseph was moving, right?
That's right.
Why he was going back to Bethlehem, his hometown, because you know census. That's why they were moving, even though he had a pregnant wife, and it wasn't the best time to be doing that. The whole
Right.
story,
Preg-
though.
A
Go ahead.
pregnant teenage wife. She was very young, Mary.
She
Very, very young.
was. She
Even
was.
for that time, she was pretty young.
She was. And another thing that's really interesting about the story, it just is reading the story, right? It's very clear what takes place. It's very clear
Hmm.
when it takes place because of the various mentions in the story are kind of letting you know it's coming in summer, late spring. It's not a winter situation at all.
Right.
But um, the other thing that shocks me is because commercialism messes stuff up. I don't know if you've noticed that, right?
Mm.
And
Yeah.
something like a religion, you want to have a little bit more consistency, right? But in that story, it's very clear. We have two things going on, right? And it's the story is quite clear. So I don't know how it got became confused over time. But they have to go back for a census. They're traveling along the way. She falls into labor. He stops along the road in a cave. There's a cave there. It's the Middle East, it's all
Hmm.
made of caves. And he helps her to give birth. She has the baby in the cave. Then after he tries to get her back on the donkey, and assuming there was a donkey, and continue along the way, and then of course they get in late into the town, and there's nothing left because everyone's in town for the census. And therefore he gets stuck having to. They said, "Well, you guys can use the barn, the stable, right?" And they bed down there. Okay, there's your story, right? But for some reason, and I'm assuming it's a Hollywood thing, although it could have been the Catholics, I guess. We have a situation that has them giving birth in the barn, but
Yeah.
that's not what the story says. I mean, go read it. It's
Right.
pretty clear. She has the baby
No,
along the
she
road
already
in the
has the
cave.
baby.
Yeah, sure, he has the baby.
Yeah.
So it's like, why did that happen though? Because if you say that to certain, individuals, uh, they'll get upset with you.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, dude, read your own book. I mean, what are you doing?
Well,
And
hence if you're talking to Catholics, they don't like to do that. There's
Well,
still a lot of that weird conditioning from the old church where they weren't allowed to, right? They were quite literally told not to, and then it was also in Latin, and they couldn't, right? So the gate kept it. Um, but that a lot of it's not a lot of that's gone nowadays, thankfully. But it's because the PR, the propaganda, the branding Christmas is stronger than the real story. That's why I don't like Christmas. I don't have any problem, obviously, with the birth of Christ or the story of the birth of Christ or Christ himself. I have a very big problem with the commercialization, which is the word you use.
right.
They've commercialized the manger and the nativity and all. None of that didn't happen.
No,
Story.
it does
Right, they
sell
stayed in it.
stuff
They
though.
stayed in the manger. That's it.
They stayed there. Yeah. It was just
Yeah.
kind of offhand mention. And honestly, as the story progresses, it and wise men come. Is it 3? Is it
Yep.
5? Well,
We don't know.
most of the iconography of the early Christian church shows
Yeah.
4, right?
That's right.
So,
Four
what does that
sages.
mean? 4 sages, and of course they're the Magi, and the Magi are coming out of, well, Persia, right?
Right. Hmm.
And to the east, of course, and a lot, and it's also a lot of funny to me because you get a lot of religious, people within the Judeo-Christian world, right? That
Yeah.
are all against anything that's even suggested to be magic. And it's like, well,
Yes.
you are told to beware witches and sorcerers, but it
That's right.
also promotes the Magi many times, not just in this
That's
story.
right.
The Magi
It,
are, people, sages. They're wise, they're intelligent, but they're also magical. So it
right.
doesn't say that all magic is bad. To the contrary, it says certain magic is bad,
That's
right?
right.
Just
Well, it
like it.
depends on where it depends on where you put your faith at the end of the day. So, like the reason why a witch, which is a very specific term, it's not just a magic user, it's not just a fortune teller, it's not just any of that,
No,
is bad, is because she, it usually is a female, derives her power from an unnatural source. It's not because she gets it from the Lord. I mean, the prophets are doing magic all the time, constantly in the Old Testament. It's
right.
magical things, even to the point where Moses stands against the mages or the sorcerers, or whatever they are, of the Pharaoh of his brother, and does the exact. They do that. They try to mock him, and then his snake eats their snake. His magic snake eats
Yeah,
magic
magic.
snake.
Right, magic. Yeah, yeah.
It,
And
it's it's it, it's a silly thing because I totally agree with you. I've never understood the dogmatic hatred of all of magic, as we call it in modern language, when it's really just, I mean, even the Bible talks about spirits and more spirits than we can count. There's
right.
spirits in heaven that praise God. These are good things. But if you talk about the spirit outside of a direct God corollary in many churches, they lose their mind. Like you're talking about being a pagan or something.
Yeah,
Even though the Bible is replete with it. The Bible has necromancy in it. Straight
it
up
does. Well,
necromancy.
Jesus is a
Back the
necromancer.
soul
Yeah.
of Samuel, the lady does, to speak to Saul because Saul's
That's
all
true.
confused, and
That's
it
true. Yeah. And don't even bring up Solomon. Whew.
right, exactly. The
Goodness
point is,
gracious, he tamed
I actually
demons
agree
for
with
his
you.
purpose, right?
And since the scientific revolution, as we call it, happened, especially Christianity has been demystified to a level that is so bizarre to me,
It is.
especially considering the Lord God quite literally repeatedly tells you that you will never understand me. Don't try. Stop it. I'm so far beyond you, it's impossible for you to understand me. He says this in many different ways, a couple times directly he says this,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
yet for some reason we keep trying to logic our way into understanding
Wow.
what is mystical.
That is our nature, isn't it? But
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of things like that that is weird, and I think it comes down to people just don't read the book. Um,
No, they don't.
they don't, and just just go read the thing. You're basing your life upon a thing. Go read it. But
Right.
it's like there's only one God and there's never any other God. Well, God doesn't say that. God is very clear
Right.
that there are many other gods, but they are beneath him,
He's just the true God.
the
He's the king
top
of the
god.
gods. He's the
Right, right.
dog, the kahuna.
Yeah, he's a big kahuna.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Uh, but um, but yeah, I mean, God not only mentions other gods many times, there are several entries where he speaks to them. There's
that's it.
one particular scene because people love to go with the Book of Enoch, which wasn't put in the Council of Nicaea into the
Yeah,
official Bible,
and
even though
Niceans.
it's the Bible itself references it on many occasions. But um, in that, Enoch is telling his experience. But there are other things that are still in the Bible that no one ever references for some reason,
Right.
right? When it comes to the Watchers, for instance, and the other
Yep.
gods, he goes and it clears up the story quite a bit as well, right?
Hmm.
Because he goes to the other gods, and
The
speaks
other
to
guy.
them, right? And he says, "Look, you're not doing what I told you to do, right? I told you to guide them. I told you to look after them, and you've
Right.
corrupted them. You've taken your own purposes." And he laid out what he was going to do. And, in the timeline of things, it took quite a while, but I guess, what's time to God? But that
Yes.
whole thing of the coming Messiah and Jesus is all laid out in freaking Genesis, dude,
Correct.
right?
He'd been
So,
planning things. He had plans. The Lord of
yeah,
Hosts. He
but
had plans.
and there you go, the Lord of Hosts.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
I,
The
I just,
host of heaven.
I
What is the
just,
host of heaven?
yeah,
Ask even devout preachers. I asked. This is one of the reasons I stopped going to church. I asked them, "What's the host of heaven?" They go, "I don't know." Or you think that maybe that would be something you should research? Nah, I don't care. Oh, all right. They have no curiosity, and that
no,
to
they don't.
me was my opinion. My break from traditional religious structure was when I realized the people there are completely without curiosity about the thing that they've devoted their lives to, and that boggles my mind. I can't be around people like that.
Well,
I can't.
they just don't read the source material. It's really weird to me
Yeah,
because I've read the Bible three times, cover to cover, right?
yeah.
And I've read all the other religious documents as well. And to be fair, even the English version is pretty good. It's not. It's a
Yeah.
good. I mean, just as a book, it's pretty interesting,
Yep.
right? Now, I much prefer the Septuagint, the original, you know, um, collection that it is, right?
Hmm.
Because it's more accurate. But
Right.
because the King James people, when they translated, they did kind of make a few mistakes in their
Yes.
translation. The Septuagint is
But fair
better.
enough. It's a pretty big
It is.
text.
I'm not complaining about it. I'm just saying it is better to read the original. And these days, there are many English versions of the Bible that are more directly, not only directly translated from Septuagint, but from the Jewish text as well, right? So
Right.
these days, you can get a much more accurate Bible. Um, and a lot of people say the Word of God is unchangeable. Well, dude, the concept is.
Because see, this is now we're going to get into some deep stuff. That right there, that terminology
You know,
is a bastardization by the Catholics to get you to kneel to the church. The reason being is because they gate kept the Bible for so long, right? Normal people couldn't read it. They literally couldn't because it was in Latin and they couldn't read that,
right. They were kind of
or in
pissed
something like it.
when James
Yeah,
actually ordered it to be put in English. They were mad about that.
exactly, exactly. So that's kind of a way that they gate kept knowledge. Word of God is not the Bible. It's a bunch of books written by a bunch of people talking about God. None of them written even by God directly. Jesus was here, he wrote nothing,
None of that.
right? Not even in the Bible.
No. And
So, what is the Word of God? The Bible tells you what the Word of God is. It's Jesus Christ is the Word of God. He is unchangeable. He is unchanging. The
and
book
yeah,
is a bunch of words. It can be changed. I can do it right now. I can pull my Bible out and start changing it. Look, God's not going to strike me down in lightning because it's just a book.
yeah,
That's not the thing. That's not the point of this. This is just the way he conveyed the message. The message is his son. He is the Word of God. John chapter 1 says it explicitly, and people still just go, the book, though, but the Bible, though.
Right.
It's so unbelievably stupid.
It
And they're
is.
not
It
curious.
is.
They don't.
Yeah, they don't. And it is, and this is deeper than just not just picking on Christianity here. Muslims do the same thing, because their idea
Yes,
is because they are Christians, right? Whether they
right.
understand that or not, that's what they're coming
Christian
from.
heresy. But yes,
Well, they're Christians. They took that out of the fall of Damascus. They took that out and they mixed it with their Baalism,
yeah,
and boom, Islam, right? Um, but even they will say, well, our book was written after the fact to clean up all of the corruption and rewriting from before. Ours is the holy, unerrable word, final word of God. The problem is
right.
your book has been rewritten dozens of times. Dozens. The current form we have was finished like not even 500 years ago, right? This version that we're dealing with, and there's arguing that that's not even it's even more recent, right? Um, the actual current Quran probably was written in the 17th century, actually. But nevertheless, yeah, okay, that's what happens with people, right? But they will argue dogmatically to the end with you that no, 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 our book has not been changed at all. It's like, well, dude, even your own scholars tell you it is. Don't you read anything? No, they don't. They don't. Grimlock, do you read? Can you read?
That is a very Democrat sounding of you, sir. I am offended.
That's true.
I thought
That is true.
I I thought
Black people don't
I
know how to
thought
use
I
the computers.
yeah, I thought
Take
I
it on
was
the internet.
I thought I was here talking with Chester. I didn't think I was sitting in on a Kathy Hochul press
Oh,
conference.
oh, oh! You went Kathy Hochul on me. All right, all right. Uh, yeah, that is so
People
ridiculous.
go, it is amazing how stupid they are that that bitch hasn't been recalled.
Oh, dude, there's so many of them that say the dumbest thing on a daily basis. It's
No,
it.
it's not even the dumbest shit. It's she says the most blatantly racist and insulting shit. And I keep telling people if there is any sort of white privilege in this country, because everybody talks about white privilege, if there's any sort of white privilege in this country, it is with the American white woman, especially if she's a liberal white woman.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's very true.
Which is
But
why I don't feel bad that Renee Good got her brain splattered. Fuck
well,
that
I mean,
bitch.
she got what she wanted. But it is what it is. But yeah, that the divide between men and women is directly, demographically connected to that, right? The some reason the women's in America are all about stupidity, even though they keep telling us that they're better gender. They keep telling us overall women are smarter than men. Well, ma'am, you don't understand the word
That's
mean.
debatable.
Mean. Well, no, they don't understand the statistic that they're looking at, and it's kind of laughable because the statistic is telling you that women tend to be toward the average mean of the group, right?
No,
Um,
they think retention is smarts. They think book smarts is smart. Okay,
yeah, no, that's fair. Well,
you
there,
can
that's
memorize you can memorize something dictated or told to you in a book. Good for you.
yeah,
That's not exactly
but
smarts.
they're not taking that. They're taking that study that came out. They're constantly flooding back to that one study that show, and it's an accurate study. It's a demographic layout that women tend to be more toward the center of the mean than men do. But of course, if you don't understand math, right, and of course, girl math now comes into the conversation, then you don't understand that, yes, the male mean is wider, but that also means, the mean is wider, wider in both directions, dumbass.
Yeah,
But
that's right.
this is what they're getting. There's that study that came out. I don't know when. And I'm assuming if you did that study anytime, it would come out the same because we know it's true, right?
Mm.
Men are all over the spectrum when it comes to things, right? where women tend to be dead in the center. And if you look at it genetically, it makes sense. Women need to be kind of the average because their responsibility is taking care of the kid, right? They need to be generally capable, where men are shooting for the stars constantly. Some make it, some don't, right?
Yeah.
So that's the thing. But they're dumb. Yeah, they're dumb. They're dumb. Yeah.
I think the weird thing with men is there's two men. There's just two. We're not that complicated. There's the men like that who just constantly want to. They're Elon Musk level. Got to keep going crazy
Oh
for
yeah.
more and more and more.
Yeah.
And then there's normal men. Most men really just want a simple life. We want little to no violence. We want peace, emotionally, spiritually, whatever you want to call it. We want to be left the fuck alone, and that's everywhere, all over the right. You'll see. Yeah, I can show you videos of craftsmen in Japan, and all they do is they just do their thing, and that's it. They don't want to do anything else. They're
Yeah.
completely content, whatever their thing is, doing that thing, and that's just men. The vast majority of us. The problem is, in God's infinite wisdom, He gave us women. You see, because we know for a fact, Chester, we've done other data, and when you take the men and the women, you separate them. Men build a nice functioning little society over here on their island. No problem. Very quick and easy. Somebody becomes in charge. Somebody becomes. Everybody. Labor gets divided up. Things get done. Men fall apart. They fall apart. They can't get anything done. Somehow they forgot how to cook, or maybe they never knew. They just fall apart. There's been multiple studies that have shown this in various degrees that men are capable of existing naturally in a hierarchy, and females typically are not. Doesn't mean women are bad. I'm not shitting on women. They're just not built for that. They're not built
Yeah.
for a civilized situation to come forth naturally. They need to be curtailed into it, to
They
want
need to
it,
be
to
hugged.
understand what it is.
Hugged.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they need to be husband is
Yes,
the
is
word.
the word.
Husbandry.
I'm doing my best to keep up with you, but I'm still kind of in shock that you literally compared me to that Tourette's-ridden frickin' Elon Musk. Thank you.
Tourette's. Tourette's.
Yeah.
Listen, Elon Musk, whether anybody likes it or not, and I personally don't even really care. But the facts are the facts. He's gonna go down as one of, if not the greatest influences in human history. This man, what
He
he's
is
doing, what he's
very much a
accomplishing,
modern
by
Thomas
himself.
Edison. He is very much.
It's
He is.
unbelievable. Even if he just gets one of his big deals, right? He's working on AI, he's working on robotics, he's working on electric vehicles, which are kind of dead in the water, working on getting to Mars. None of those would be enough for him to be a legend. The
Yeah.
one that I think is going to change the entire world forever, irreparably, good or bad, is the brain chip.
Yeah, that's a
Interfacing our
big deal,
minds
dude.
directly with computers is
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
big, because dementia's gone forever. That's not a thing anymore. It just doesn't. It just fixes it. He can fix it literally with the machine. People who are physically the rest of their body is messed up, but the brains are fine. Fixed it. Now they can function in society again, at least some way, right through digitally. Watch the guy who can't even move play Civilization 5 or 6 or whichever one it was, and that's amazing.
Yeah, it
With
is
just
cool.
this brain chip in his
Yeah.
mind.
You
Now,
also
I'm
have
not
his
saying I'm
per
personally going to get a brain chip. I don't know if I trust them this stuff putting in my brain,
no.
but the fact that it's going to be a thing is he. And
It
once
is
he
huge.
gets it to the point where he's almost got it there by all accounts, to where they can start using it medically. Uh, that's going to be a massive game changer, and that's just one of the
Yeah.
things he's working on,
Well, you
which is
people
crazy.
never talk about his pressure tube train system that he's working on.
Oh,
Um,
and that's a huge deal.
that is a huge deal. Yeah, it is because that you're talking about, moving people between one point and another at speeds faster than an airplane, and of course you don't have
Yeah,
to deal with any of the issues of air travel.
that's right.
But yeah, no, Elon Musk is a real deal. He's a visionary. He's very much the modern Thomas Edison, as I said, or Ben Franklin. So because if Ben Franklin was in an age that we had, we were on the cusp, the bleeding edge of advancement, where he was kind of stuck in the, early industrial revolution, which was a cool thing, but he was just born in the wrong time. Ben Franklin would have been very similar, I think.
Yeah,
He
I agree.
was, even he
I agree.
was, but it's just
Da
the
Vinci would
timing.
have been as well.
Yeah, no, for sure.
It was just a different time.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Elon, he's one of those great men of history. We a lot of people had it in their head that we weren't going to get any more of those. That was done now. Well, nope, incorrect. Because here's one right here. He's a bit of a shithead. Let's be honest. He is. He knows he is.
Yeah.
But so because his if that shitheadery that he does gets us to Mars, it's worth it. That
Sure.
would be that alone is the greatest achievement in human history if we make it to Mars.
Well,
If
speaking of great
we get there.
human achievements, did you see we
Human
went
achievements.
around the we went around the moon again?
We did.
Again?
Did. Yeah.
Yay. Artemis 2. Yay.
Good
That
job.
is
Good
a
job.
big sham, dude. I
Of course
do
it
love
is.
the fact that NASA cut the mic as soon as they mentioned, "Hey, is that a Chinese moon base down there?" What? Okay. Um, I love how the feed
I
instantly
would
went
be
out
very
like that.
surprised if we don't already have moon and asteroid bases.
Of course
America
we
specifically.
do, and China never did anything. Not go watch that CD laden nonsense, CG laden nonsense they put out. It's all
Yeah.
bullshit. It's all bullshit. The Aurora project, which we've been winked at a whole bunch of times, they even put the thing in the opening of Maverick, dude, winking at you,
They
right?
sure did.
The Aurora project, that plane, which they didn't even bother to classify it, they left it X classification, which just means
Hmm.
experimental, right? Um, that
Yep.
thing, what it does, its whole purpose, it's not a weapon, right? It is going from ground to space and back. It's a space plane, is what it is,
That's right.
and that's what it's always been. That's why you never hear about any military aspects of it, because it's not a military plane. And of course,
Yes.
you also have to. Well, I mean, it could be converted, I'm sure, but that's not the purpose, right?
Right.
And you have to go back and ask yourself simple little questions. Well, why did they shut down our space program? In the 70s. Why did they
Hmm.
do that? Why did they switch over to shuttles, which never went to space? Why did they didn't say, okay, we don't need these either? Why would they do that? That means the only reason they do that is if they had something better,
That's right.
right? And so it's not that, this whole Artemis thing. I don't know. NASA wants more funding or something. I don't know.
I think it's just propaganda. I think we're getting very, very close to the admit. I mean, they've already openly admitted now about aliens.
They have,
That's a thing.
yeah,
They're talking about it constantly, even now.
yeah. Then
Uh,
people call that the psyop. It's
yes,
like,
which
dude, pick a
maybe.
fucking lane, dude.
But no, what I think we're getting close to is somebody, whether it's Trump or not, a future president most likely is going to announce the truth, or at least part of the truth of what our space program really is, what it has always been. Because here's the reality, and people don't like hearing this, but it's true. That in SpaceX, they're not doing anything new. Well, they are now, but when they started, first few years, they were just taking old diagrams, old technology, old stuff from like NASA and whatever that was supposedly, boxed away after they shut everything down, and repurposing it. That's all they were
Yeah,
doing.
yeah,
And now they're on to more advanced and newer stuff, of course, but they had to start somewhere.
yeah. Well, even
So
Trump, hinted at that. High
yes,
flying
well, I
assets.
think genuinely, I think we have we have space bases up there already. I don't know
I'm
what they
sure we
consist
do.
of. I'm almost certain we have something on the moon, and we probably have something towards the asteroid belt, if not already in the asteroid belt. Whether it's automated or manned, I don't know. But I'd be very surprised if we don't. Because, I mean, think about it for a second. There's already companies in Europe, I'm sure they're in America and China as well, that are literally asteroid mining companies that have been founded. These have been
Yep.
around for a few years now.
Yeah.
These exist.
Yeah.
Why the hell would those already exist unless somebody said, hey, guess what? We've been up there already. been to them.
Yeah,
We can
no,
get there.
there's a
We can
lot of
do it.
stuff behind the scenes going on. That
Yeah.
is for sure.
Yeah.
Um, and it's just just kind of pay attention to what they're doing, and you can see it. Um,
Well, Elon's pretty adamant that in the next decade, this was his words, Elon Musk, that everybody will be rich effectively, and that wealth will be a thing, or poverty rather, will be a thing of the past. Now, I don't know if he's just trying to do some damn good PR marketing, or if he knows some things
which he
that
is good
no
at.
one else is privy to. Very good at it.
Yeah,
He says robotics plus AI is going to make everybody's life so much easier, basically effortless. And in reality, his version of it gets out there correct. I mean, there'll be nothing. Manual labor will basically go away for humans. We won't have to do
right,
it because the robots will be doing it. AI will be able to handle pretty much all of the you know logistical and legalistic work that the bureaucracy could be handled by the AIs, and it would be done much more efficiently and actually get done, unlike most bureaucracy today. Uh, Theoretically. So if he's correct and he can actually get where he wants to go, and all these companies can get where they want to go, that would be huge. But it also sounds to me like he or someone has told him about an abundant well of resources we're about to tap into on a global scale
right,
that we've never touched before.
right. And of
That's
course, if we start mining in space, it's a it's a game changer.
yeah,
But
yeah.
Alan mentions here the blue screen mishap. Which one? Because there are many. And NASA's not really that tight a ship. Um, the best
Yep.
one I saw, or at least the one I thought was the most interesting, as far as blue screen mishap with NASA, was the one where you had
Yeah, baby.
Papa Bush was in the wheelchair. He's in bad health, and Baby Bush was pushing him, and they were visiting NASA. And of course, you had all their people with them and cameras taking snapshots and video and stuff. And of course, they took the pictures and released it, not even really paying attention to what they had done. And of course, in the background was what we saw later on as a what is called ILS, the space station release of this astronaut talking to us, and of course it was all
Yeah.
green screen at that time, right? That's the best one for me. There have been many mishaps, of course, but that one is so blatant. They're literally sitting there filming a green screen event to be released to the people in literally a few days, and they caught that by accident because of the bushes, by accident.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there are many mishaps with NASA. It's not a very tight ship. But yeah, of
No,
course
no.
we're up there. Why wouldn't we be up there? I mean, this
Yeah.
they're when they talk about this Artemis project a few years ago when they were building the ship, they had their lead scientist, and I think he was quite young, but geniuses. But he he said the quiet part out loud inadvertently because he's a smart guy, but that doesn't mean he's smart. He's not politically
Right.
savvy. And he said, "Well, the real problem we're having with our ship is trying to shield it from the Van Allen's belt because all that radiation would just kill you." And it's like, well, dude, didn't we do that multiple times in the '60s already?
By the way, that is like the number one argument for the people who say we faked the moon landing is the Van Allen's belt. Because there's allegedly no way through it, but we've also
There's
allegedly
been,
been through it numerous times.
right. Well,
Uh,
I will give you a
it's
historical
interesting.
reference to that if you'd like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, there are many old from different languages. Obviously, it's the same story, so it's either multiple cultures experience the same event, or it's just the Silk Road, the human interaction and trade. But whatever.
Right.
This isn't from one culture, but the gist of it is this. It's talking about the Titanomachy, right? The ancient
Right.
war of the gods, right? And of course, the Bible would talk about this as being the war against the Watchers or whatever, right? But
Right.
the ancient God war, which all our cultures and religions have, and in that war, the various referencing is either they're the enemy or they're the enemy of the enemy or something like that, because the Watchers, the ones that were on Earth, whether they be referenced as angels or aliens or demons or whatever they're referenced as, to keep them from leaving the planet, a
Yeah,
shield was put around it so that no one should leave. They, in essence, in the Mesopotamian story, they use the word quarantine, right? So
right.
you actually have many ancient references that the Van Allen belt was put there intentionally to make sure no one gets off this damn planet, because
Yep.
it's considered tainted and needing of quarantine. So, and that's that's Bible says that. All the ancient texts say that in one form or another. It's interesting
Right.
that they're referencing something that we only discovered in the what 19th century? No, I think 20th century. When did Dr. Van Allen discover the Van Allen belt?
Let's see.
I think it's 19th century, late 19th century. But nevertheless, there are many references
Early
to that.
1958
Well,
says.
okay. Yeah. See, my brain said 1960, and I was like, no, brain, no. See, listen to your brain, Grimlock.
It tells you things.
It does. Stop trying to be
You know,
smarter
one of the
than the
things
brain.
that I find hilarious is a complete subject pivot, but I just saw it. That I find hilarious out here is we have all these Europeans screeching and crying and a great weeping and gnashing of their teeth because Trump doesn't like NATO and much, and to be honest, doesn't seem like he likes Europe very much, to be honest with you.
Well, dude.
And Americans largely agree with him. In my estimation, my experience, we don't really want anything to do with the Europeans. And they cannot stand the fact, they can't, that America might just, tell them to kick rocks. And some of them are even out here talking about, well, that'd be a good thing for us. Okay, good luck.
Yeah.
If,
Well,
if we untether ourselves from them, like just say, nah, we're good. We're good. We're gonna stick with the Pacific Ocean. Us and Japan, we get along. We're great friends. Japan's a great friend. If they just decide, if we just decide, that's enough out of you, you sanctimonious pricks. We've had enough.
yeah.
Uh, there's really nothing they could do about it. Trump was just being nuts to ask for their help.
Well,
He did it. He just did it anyway.
well,
But he decided not to.
well, yeah, but the thing with that is, and you're of course correct, Booster, coincidence. But here's the unwrapping of that is much uglier than what the way you just laid it out, dude. Right?
I know.
Um, the Spanish have always been contrary to everything, always, because that's who
They're
the
jealous.
Spanish
Yeah.
are, right? And them saying you can't use our bases, what's new, right? Britain
Mm-hmm.
is a bit of a shocker, but it shouldn't be because Starmer and their king, King Charles, are 100% pro Islamists. Pure
I think
Islam.
Charles is a Muslim.
I think he is.
Yeah.
So you not to wonder why that's going on, right? Maloney over
Mm-hmm.
in Italy was a bit of a surprise that they took that angle. I didn't think she would do that, but she did. You can't use our bases either, Italy said. But the worst of it is actually France. Because
Yep.
not only did Macron say, nope, you're not using our bases, he put out, now I'm not, you go reference this yourself. As with everything I say here, or we say, you check it yourself. You do your own damn research, right? But this, you
Mm.
go look this up. Macron actually put out tweets or whatever system SNS he used, saying that the world needs to come together to unify against the United States and fight them and kick them out of the Middle East. Macron said this. He literally put out a call for the world to go to war with America. Macron
Yeah.
of France. Do you
I
understand?
want
These
France to try.
sniveling little shits that always need their ass saved and will join with the invader instantly, which is what he's doing again. It's the French. They always like, oh, no mas, I give
Where's
up.
the French?
I give up. How can we help you, Sir Adolf? Right? Or whatever the situation.
Went over and puckered their
Over and
buttholes is
over
what
and
they did.
over again. And we got to
Yeah,
go in and save their ass. Do we get any thank you or anything from them? No. They're like, oh, fuck you. We're fine anyway. The French are like
yeah,
this. And look at what I mean, he literally did that, dude. That is such an out of bounds move. I mean, plain and
yeah.
simple. But yet at the same time, after that, now the French are sending ships over the to the Strait of Hormuz to help. So I don't know what Trump
Uh-huh.
said to him, and I don't know why he said anything other than France and America are now, persona non grata. Because he
Well,
literally called for war against America. This is an
it's
ally?
funny. Well, no, none of these things are our allies. First of all, we don't have allies. We have. Well, let me clarify. We have vassals, and they don't like it. France is our vassal. They've been our vassal since World War II. Germany's definitely our vassal. We have 50,000 troops stationed there. They've been our vassal since World War II. Britain's been our vassal since right around World War II. That's just the fact of reality. They don't have to like it, but that's what they are. They're client states. That's what they are. They're client states. They're not anything other than that. And anybody who thinks otherwise is out of their mind. Japan's a client state.
Oh, they're
The only
definitely
difference
a client state.
is the Japanese at least understand this. We don't call it that, of course. We use nicer, more diplomatic language, but they know
It
what
is
they
what it
are. They
is.
know
Yeah.
that what it is.
Well, with the
And but the Europeans, in their arrogance, just cannot accept the American empire is in charge.
right.
Look, if you don't want the American empire in charge, you can do something about it,
Yeah, let's go to war.
bitch.
Let's deal with it.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's get it
what
done.
happens?
Yeah, but with the expansion of the Monroe Doctrine, after the war, which was a weird stretch, but they used that to do it. And we rebuilt the planet, which, keep in mind, we've never been thanked for. The Americans literally rebuilt the planet after World War II. Keep that in mind.
That's
And no one said thank you. Nobody, right?
Polish.
Now, but because of that, though, we did get ourselves, and I'm not saying America's this beautiful, lovely child that does everything right and is nothing but altruistic, because we're not. Um, but that's where everybody became a vassal. Because, all right, we
Yeah,
built all your stuff and we gave you stuff, and little by little we'll let you have cars. Everybody became a vassal. The whole planet,
right.
really. And that that is the situation we live in. And the funny thing about it is, here's the irony, right? Trump
Mm-hmm.
is the president that's trying to end the Monroe Doctrine.
Yes,
He's the guy that's saying, there's enough of that. Let's go all back to our own corners and let's get it done for ourselves. Let's make France
yes,
great again. Let's make Russia great again. Let's make Japan great again. Go back to
that's
our
right.
corners and let's do it right. Trump is literally the guy that's saying, "Hey, you're right. America has dominated you for 80 years. How about we kind of start doing our own thing and be successful and winners?" That's what Trump is actually doing. And they're fighting against the one guy who agrees with them. This is the level of idiocy that you are dealing with. And you were right, Alan. Dr. Van Halen did find that we were hot for teacher in 1984. One of the greatest pop rock opens of all time, by the way. Um, dude, that drum opening in Hot for Teacher is badass. I mean, come on.
Pretty good.
Yeah,
Pretty good.
yeah, yeah.
I think we're seeing in real time. See, a lot of people think this is real time. I've seen people say this, Chester. I'm not kidding. This is in real time an admonishment of American geopolitical power. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Iran, okay, they've got some hits in. They took out 30,000 of their assets. Talking about. They got 3, 4, 5, whatever it is.
Well, they've
They
killed
got
about
less than
80.
100.
They've killed about 80 to 100,000 their own people. I mean, they got their hits in. Yeah,
Yeah, good job.
yeah.
Good work, guys. You're doing great. Knocking it out of the park. I personally think the crazy thing is, up until very recently, I would have agreed with these people. that we need to leave Iran alone. However, that was before he showed that he's not doing this like we did it before. And he showed that in Venezuela, and he showed it so far in Iran. Believe it or not, I know no one wants to believe this because for some reason there's this idea that he's being restrained from
Oh yeah,
this.
he is.
A restrained attack on this country.
Very much so.
We could do so much worse to Iran quickly, and we've proven.
Oh yeah,
So the fact that they're being surgical and precise with their attacks, by and large, of course, there's going to be accidents and mistakes, and that's going to happen. It is what it is. And the fact that he's not dragging us into, at least not yet, and maybe that's what will happen, into a big quagmire situation that everybody said was going to be a quagmire situation, like Afghanistan and Iraq.
yeah.
Uh,
There's no
I
need
can
for
give
it
him
though.
some I can give leeway.
Yeah, there's no need
No,
for
there's
it
not.
though. We
Point.
ended that war in
All
two
of that's
days.
bullshit.
That war was done in
Yeah,
2 days, right? And they were incredibly restrained. Do you think the American military can't open the Strait of Hormuz? Why do you think
of
they
course it can.
didn't do it? They intentionally didn't do it because Europe was dragging their feet and they're like, all right, you bastards. That's why.
Yes.
And keep in
The
mind,
other reason is we're squeezing Europe because Europe. I think Trump or his cabinet, probably him as well, understand that Europe is actually not our ally at all.
no, they're
They're our
not.
number
They're
one
clearly
impediment
not.
globally.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, but
so we're squeezing them.
we are.
Here's what's in Europe. They're going to bend the knee to somebody. If it's not us, it's going to either be Russia, which they've all been clearly doing, by the way, for their natural gas and oil,
Yeah.
or it's going to be China. Let's just ask them. Prefer. You would really prefer China or Russia? One, we're not going to let that happen if we can stop it. But two, say that we can't.
Well,
You have to
now
pick now.
let me put a
One,
key- let
because
me
you're not stand on your own, Europe.
no, and
I
let
know you
me
think you can. Can't.
no, they can't because they're lazy and they didn't take advantage of the situation, which Japan did. But now, just to put a
Yep.
caveat on what I said about what Macron said, yes, he did say that, but he also threw China in. We need to stand against America and China, so he puts us in the same bag as China, right? Which
Okay,
is
then you're
great,
going to kneel and kiss Russia's ass
right?
because
But
you don't have the ability to do anything on a global scale. Russia and China, even though it's very, very minimal compared to America, does.
yeah, but keep in mind the level of organization going here, and you love to see it. We're so unused to it that we think it's a wow, when really it's just
Right.
how we used to operate standardly.
It's got to be a
Um,
propaganda. It can't be real.
yeah, but I mean, take into account how well orchestrated this Iran situation was. There were look at all the things that the his administration did before going in, right? It was
Yep.
all set up for that, including making that big oil deal with Japan, right? Because, like, all right,
Yep.
we're going to go in here, we're going to deal with this, but we're going to use this to squeeze the Europeans, as you have said, Japan. But you're our actual buddies. We don't want to hurt you, so here's some oil, right? We
There you go.
literally took
And
care of
Trump
that
even said,
before.
look, if they have a problem with the Strait of Hormuz being closed, they can either go open it themselves or they can buy American oil.
That's right.
We got plenty of it,
That's
and
the
we do.
play.
We have more than
That's the
anybody
play.
else.
Now, and keep in mind, I don't know what your gas prices are at. I saw the barrel of oil was up over $100 from your point of view. But over here in
Mm-hmm.
Japan, our not only have our gas prices not gone up, they've gone down.
Ours have gone up about $1 a gallon, probably give or take.
Yeah,
But it seems to have stabilized there. We'll see what happens as this goes on. But you have to understand the companies over here are completely and utterly corrupt. They're charging us more money for oil and gas they have already had a 2 year backlog for what might happen in the future. Not what will happen. Might happen. It's completely
that's what they
speculative,
do. It's all speculative, and
and
it's
it's
the
so
opportunist as
corrupt.
well. It's opportunist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Tucker, I'm going to push back against Tucker Carlson here for a minute because
Yeah.
Tucker Carlson, he's gone a little sideways. Although I still understand what he's saying recently, but he's gone a bit sideways. But he was going on about that's a stupid statement about the oil. The oil is all part of this one big. It's all in one bucket, and it doesn't work like that. Well, yes and no, Mr. Carlson. The simple
Mm-hmm.
fact of the matter is, America produces a lot of its own oil, and therefore, refining and selling it internally instead of having gone through the open market ultimately will make our costs much cheaper, as you will see in Saudi Arabia and many other Middle Eastern countries that are oil based. Their people hardly pay anything at all for gasoline, pennies,
Yeah.
right? Now, the thing that skews that number is unfair, and I'm kind of shocked that Tucker doesn't know this, or maybe he's intentionally not knowing this, because our numbers in America are skewed because of California. California has special rules in place. You can't bring
Right.
oil into California via pipeline. They don't allow it. Now, of course, what
Yep.
that's done is affected all the states around them that also don't have pipelines coming through them to get to California. So there's so we have a supply problem now. Everything has to be done by truck, but of course they don't even want that. They want to get their stuff foreign in a foreign situation. California also
That's
has
right.
a higher refining requirement than any other state in America. Therefore, they
That's
can
right.
only get their oil from two places on the planet, right? And of course, those
Yep.
two places can't meet the demand because of all of California's taxation. All the refinery and oil companies are leaving, right?
Yep.
So now they find themselves in a real bad situation, and that number is extremely skewing. They are literally four times the cost for oil,
Yeah.
gasoline, than anywhere else in the country, and their population is also the largest in the country. Therefore, it's skewing that number. The actual number in America is actually pretty nice, and I'm kind of surprised that Tucker Carlson didn't know that. Matter of fact, I don't believe that he doesn't know that, because no matter what you
I
think of
don't.
Tucker, he's a pretty smart, sharp cookie.
What's happened to guys like Tucker, and I love Tucker. I will always love Tucker.
Yeah,
But what's happened to him and guys like him is they've become so anti-Israel and so anti-Zionist
yeah,
that anything that promotes them in any kind of positive way. Now, I'm against Zionism too,
it's
but I'm
IDS.
not against Israel as a reality. If that makes sense. Like they exist.
No,
They have as much as anybody else. They have a right to exist if they can defend themselves, and they can. That doesn't mean I agree with what they're doing here, there, or wherever, but to deny that is to deny that any country has a right to exist. Like, what are we talking about? Any place that can defend itself, defend its borders, and secure them, then it exists.
yeah,
Period. Point blank.
even the
Period.
ones
End of
that
story.
can't, a la Bhutan.
Yes. So my point is, they've become so anti-Israel, and Israel's influence. Really, it's Israel's influence over America more than anything. And I agree. I'm against that. But you have to be able to see the forest for the trees here. I don't like APAC. I don't like its influence over American politics. I don't like the influence of global Judaism or whatever you want to call it over America's culture. I don't.
Zionism is the
But
word.
but that doesn't mean that just because we're fighting a war with Israel, one, Trump is kissing someone's ass, that Trump is under someone's influence, or that America now bad and everything we do is a war crime and blah 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 blah, just because Israel happens to also be involved. So these people have, oh, how the left has Trump derangement syndrome. People on the other side have Israel derangement
Yeah,
syndrome,
IDS. Yeah.
and anything that's involved with Israel is automatically bad. And I'm like,
Well,
that's silly.
and
It's
and
not
and,
rational
and it's
thought.
unfortunate because they're not looking at the bigger picture at all. Um,
No.
do keep in mind that Trump, his son-in-law, who he treats like a son, by the way, Jared
Yes.
Kushner, is not only a Jew, not only richer than Donald Trump is, he
Yep.
is extremely high level in the shadow government of Israel.
That's right.
Extremely high level. His access and his influence in Israel is ridiculous, right? Now, some people say, "Oh, that's why he's corrupted," or is he actually have an inside line? I mean, let's look at this
Right.
realistically. When has Trump ever tied his hitch to anybody? Ever, ever.
Right.
I mean,
No.
because you can
Trump makes
go,
his own decisions.
he does, and always complain about the wrong things with Trump. Trump
Yes.
is his ego is real because he
Yes.
has success behind it, right? And
That's right.
he's constantly talking about, well, we could turn Gaza into a resort, or we look at all the money, get the oil. He's always on about this stuff because that's how he thinks, right? And
That's
this
right.
is where you knock Trump for his greedy capitalism, because he is. But they
Yes.
don't. They always go after dumb shit that doesn't make any sense. But
No.
Trump has got a direct line, not because he's president, because of his family. He has a direct line to everything that's going on in Israel. Keep in mind,
Correct.
Jared Kushner, because I don't think people understand how connected this guy is. I don't think they know who Jared Kushner is or his family. I just really don't think, because the Kushners are directly related to the Rothschild banking dynasty in Switzerland, right? They're part of that, kind of like, Arnold Schwarzenegger married into the Kennedys because he married a Shriver, right? It's the same thing.
Yes.
And those guys are literally still banking on the gold of Egypt thousands of years later, literally, right?
Yeah.
And they're connected to that. Keep in mind, like we had the spotless red calves that were brought in and sacrificed, by the way, because they need that ash
Yep.
to put on their tools to rebuild the temple, which is going ahead, by the way. What do you think this action is really all about from Israelis' point of view? He's the one that
Hmm.
did that. He's the one that organized that. He's the one 100% behind the temple is Jared Kushner. Now, you think some just random Jew is going to be the dude in charge of that? I mean, come
No.
on.
No. No.
And
No.
it was hit, by the
No.
way,
No. 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 No.
it was his idea to turn Gaza into a resort, by the way. It was Jared
Yeah.
Kushner's idea, not Trump's.
No. When it comes to this stuff, Trump clearly defers to Kushner.
Yeah.
And now you can, right, wrong, or indifferent. That's very obvious. That's what he does. Trump's biggest issue has always been that he is extremely arrogant. And the reason he's extremely arrogant is because he almost never loses. He just wins. He keeps winning.
He is very
So there's no
arrogant.
reason
Yeah.
for him not to be.
Yeah.
There's people who are out here talking about Trump betrayed the people who voted for him with Iran. You people are retarded. Trump has been an Iran war hawk for 40 my entire life. I'm 40
Yeah.
years old. Articles that he wrote in the New York Times saying
Back
we
in
need
the
to do something
80s.
about Iran.
We
In the
should
80s.
we should have done something about Iran 47 fucking years ago.
Yes. Sadly.
I mean,
Sadly.
there's a lot of places
But that's
around the
my
world
point,
we should
though.
have
He
dealt
did
with a long
not
time ago.
betray you. If this becomes a 100,000 troop on the ground bullshit
No, it
operation like Iraq was,
It ain't happening.
which it's not going to, if that happened, okay, I would agree with you. That was a betrayal of his platform.
No.
He once said he wouldn't bomb the shit out of people.
No,
Those
yeah.
exact words. Bomb the shit out is what he
That's
said.
right. And he did.
And that's what he's doing.
And no, there's no need for any of that because this war is already over. It's been over. All this is
Yeah.
just delaying action to, fuck Europe because they're being assholes. That's what all that
That's
is.
right.
And what he's trying to do, because this whole action, there are more things going on behind it. But this whole action is, I really think they saw what was brewing, and the Iranian people stood up this time and then stood up again because they've stood up many times. They kill a few thousand of them, they go back home, right? But this time they keep
Right.
coming back out, and they were like, "All right, here we go, here we go, here's the opportunity." So what we're doing is what we did. Like I said, this was done in 2 days, right? Is we
Yeah.
removed their ability to make war. So it's like we're going to control that oil and the money thing, or that's what we're curious about, right? But you Iranians,
Mhm.
here you go. There you go. You want your freedom? Stand up and take it. Stand up and take it. And they are. And they are. So good for them.
Yeah, I hope they
But
do.
that's what's
I would
going on.
love for a resurgence of Persia. Call it
It'd be
that.
cool. It'd be
But a
real cool.
proper Iran would be fantastic, right? Not this Islamic bullshit. There's the other thing that so many of these people I've seen have forgotten. They think the Jews and Judaism and global Jewry, if you want to go to that old term,
Oh, wow.
are your number one enemy. Okay, I can see your argument, but the truth of the matter is the numbers don't lie. The only people who killed more Christians than Christians is Muslims, and it's not close.
Oh,
These
no,
people
it's
do
not
not
even
serve
close.
Jews. They're not Jewish by nature. They hate Jews. They are their wicked stepbrothers, if you will, of the Jews. They are not servants to Jewish interests. They would destroy every Jew on the planet if they had their opportunity. Some weird Hitlerian fantasy. Reality. That's what the Islamists would do. That's what the hardcore fundamentalist Muslims would do
Yeah.
because they see them as the bastard line of the sons of Abraham, of Ibrahim, as they would call them. This is an old blood
You know, it's
feud
funny.
from
They're kind of right
thousands
in
of
that
years
way.
ago.
They're kind of right in that way,
You
though. Isn't
know,
that funny?
regardless whether they're right or not, my point is no Christian Muslim alliance against
That's true,
Judaism.
Alan.
That's asinine. Asinine. There has never been a force on earth besides Christian nations themselves going to war against each other that has destroyed more Christians than Islam.
Yeah,
It's not even debatable.
that's true.
Not even debatable.
That's true. Well, let's see what our secret hidden Jew thinks. Grimlock. Oh, don't you tell me. I know you're one of them black Jews. I know you are.
Nah.
No, damn. You have an opinion?
Watching Europe's behavior, it's hilarious because it's like watching this. It's like watching the spoiled daughter hear from her dad that he's cutting her off.
Yeah.
That's really what it seems like I'm watching. It's like Daddy Warbuck is cutting off little Miss Spoiled bitch because I don't understand how any. Well, I do understand. And it's entitlement because for all of my life, at least, especially when I was younger, you used to hear like Europeans, especially like before the internet, they would come over here and they would talk about how stupid Americans are and how simple and this and that, and how Europe is so much more advanced. And it's like, oh yeah, you're more advanced, and then come to find out, yeah, we're footing the bill for a lot of this shit.
Yeah, that is true.
And it's easy to talk shit when you got no skin in the game. And you know whether people like or dislike Trump, I don't give a shit. But the fact that it took this guy, a guy everybody calls a dope, it took this guy to come in and go, hey, these guys have built their economy on our dime. Why are we still paying them? And they're talking shit on top of it
Right. Why do they think Trump's a dope, though? He's never done anything to demonstrate that.
because TV told them.
No.
Because TV told after everybody talking about what a smart and quick-witted and clever man he was. TV told him all of a sudden he's retard, and all of these people who will ironically post opinions are my own on their social media page will just repeat verbatim what TV told them.
Right. Even though we have decades of evidence to the contrary.
Yes, decades of evidence of consistency. What everybody claims. Oh, our leaders aren't consistent. If you go back and look at Trump's thoughts about the world economy and Iran, it got 40 years of a pretty consistent opinion on
Yeah,
both subjects.
he's been very consistent. Yeah. Alan has got the quote of the day so far. We was shaloms
Uh
and shit. And sheet.
oh.
Shate. Yeah, that's
I
true.
mean,
Now, I love the fact that one second, Grimlock. I love that the fact that the chat is trying to help young Booster here. He says, I'm bored. Alan says, titties. That's very helpful, Alan.
Excellent.
And then Maple Chic says, you're always bored, Booster. Yeah, this probably is the problem.
That's
Okay,
true. He is.
Grimlock, go ahead.
yeah, to, to me, I just look at it and it's watching kids throw at things, and it's like, okay, you talk all this shit. Now it's time, for you to back up your mouth. Okay, you don't need the uh, what is it? The American influence. Okay, well, we'll take the American dollar that has been subsidizing your lifestyle for the past 70 years, and we will put it towards better things.
Yeah.
Like
Oh wait, no,
space.
you can't do that. Nigga, stop us. It's our money.
That's right. That's right.
I, it's funny, but I'm not surprised. It's watching how seeing how many people have adopted socialism or Marxism is kind of frightening. The fact that somebody can tell you with impunity what you should do with your money.
Right. Irony
Somebody,
again. Irony again. Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
no, you know why? Because it seems like they don't tell me, hey, they don't tell me what to do with anything else. I'm like, I got a big ass machete. Would you like to tell me who I should cut with it?
Right. No, that well,
No,
no.
no. Oh, why are you afraid you might get cut with it?
That's
Oh,
true.
okay.
Yeah.
But
Well,
if I have a big ass stack of money, you have a ton of fucking opinions what I should do with it because you think you might be getting from.
yeah. Well, I think a lot of people in the world, and Americans particularly, really don't understand the big picture of things. And I'm assuming this is just a Hollywood problem because it usually is. Here's the reality: America has been the richest thing on the planet a lot longer than you think. A lot of people think, oh, it was
Yeah.
after the war. No, it
No.
wasn't. If you go
No.
way back to a certain little day on July 4th, as we remember it, 1776, there was a Declaration of Independence from you bastards. And
That's right.
why did they do that? Why did that all happen? Well, we always hear people referencing taxation without representation. Okay, well, why were they taxing the Americans? Because the way Hollywood frames it is, oh, it's just a little colony, colonizers, poor little Indians. Well, why do you think Britain gave a shit? Britain supposedly had colonies all over the planet, didn't they? The sun never sets
Yeah.
upon the British Empire, right?
Yeah.
Why did they give a shit about America? They weren't doing that to anybody else. Well, the reason is because the Americans were filthy, filthy. And we can get into a longer conversation. We're not going to, because I'll spare you that. But a conversation of how we got so rich, or and why we were so rich, even though we're supposedly this little colony. But then conspiracy theories come up,
Tobacco.
and I have to hit the TFT trailer. But nevertheless, many things. Cotton was a big one too. Um,
Tobacco.
uh,
Hemp. Hemp is what George made all his money on.
that's true.
Old
That is
Washington was
true.
out here selling hemp.
But the thing is, the Americans were so outrageously, or excuse me, the British colonials were so outrageously filthy rich that the crown, as they always do, because they're always making their stupid little wars, they need money, right? And these kings will go to the extreme, ugly, nasty lengths to steal your damn money for their war, right? And that's what that all was about because the
Oh,
Americans
Chester.
were crazy rich. And so this
I had to.
economic dominance is
Oh,
not new.
I had this Frenchman on the internet talking about Americans are out here calling French people cowards and all this other nonsense, right? Which they are. Let's be honest.
Well, they always have been.
Um, but you wouldn't exist if it wasn't for a French. That war was over. You showed up to claim glory you didn't earn here. We had the British stomped by the time the French did anything that mattered. It would have been
Well,
over
they did
maybe a
drag their
little bit
feet,
late.
didn't they? They did drag their
Yeah,
feet,
it
didn't
would have
they?
been a little later down the line when we finally started to truly rout them. But the truth of the matter was, British couldn't do anything. The Americans were too entrenched, and there was no way to actually root them out.
Well, they had
They were
money.
effectively an outside force invading, and they were rich as a motherfucker, so they
They
could just
were.
keep paying people betraying their.
That's right. And they were Americans at that time were actually richer than the crown. I know that sounds
Yes.
ridiculous, but they had overextended themselves, and like I said, I don't want to get into it because that's a
Well,
long conversation. But they
think about it.
overextended themselves incredibly. The Americans were actually wealthier, and the French, as usual, showed up after it was over, as
Yeah,
fucking
and took
usual.
credit, and they're still taking credit.
Yeah.
Little shitheads want to talk about taking credit. All right, we see you. Well, but I bet if you ask him, wait a minute, which one of you Frenchmen was responsible for showing up and helping out? His name. Oh, they'll get real quiet. They'll get real fucking quiet talking about that because they know what they did to those people. They beheaded most of them. So I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear this Euro trash dog shit. Americans are done with it. We're tired of it. And I honestly hope Trump strong arms them even harder. I hope he starts collecting straight up tribute. I'm done. We've been nothing but kind to these people. We've done nothing but protect, support them, allow them to run their little socialist paradises and pretend like nothing could ever hurt them
Yeah,
while
we
talking down to
subsidize.
us
Yeah, just like
and
California.
treating us like we're their stepdad, right? We just have to put up with it because we love their mom. Well, guess what? That divorce is final, bitch. Done. We don't gotta listen to your bullshit anymore. We're cutting off your credit cards, cutting off everything. I hope Trump pulls out of Europe entirely. Pull every fucking troop out, close every base, tell Europe it's gonna have to stand on its own, and watch how fast Russia makes it succumb. Watch, watch. And
Yeah,
in my opinion, don't even stop them. Let them. Let the Russian Federation dominate and make them into their satellite states. Because honestly, the Russians are about 30 years from collapse anyway, give or take. As soon as Putin's out of there, they're going to fall apart in the worst way they have since the fall of the Soviet Union, because he's the only thing really keeping them together. No one wants to talk about that. There's a reason why we don't go after Putin. It's because the intelligence agencies aren't that retarded, and they know for an absolute fact that he holds that country together.
yeah,
It is the most diverse nation on earth besides America. It has huge ethnic conflict just waiting. It's going to
yeah,
happen. It's
yeah.
already starting to
And it's
happen
the
in some
same.
places. Look at
It's
Dagestan. They just let Dagestan do whatever it wants because they know they can't stop them.
That's right. But I mean, it also comes down to we have a good modern example of this with Libya, and the fact
Yep,
of them killing Gaddafi was a really, really dumb mistake. But then again, we're dealing with
yep.
Obama and Hillary Clinton, who are quite proud of their stupidity. But just to
Not
kind of
exactly the smartest
no,
cupcakes in the bunch, were they?
but just to kind of wrap up the whole French thing in the colonial conflict, um, do keep in mind the Treaty of Alliance was formed in 1778, right?
That's right.
And it took them time to even keep up with their word. Now, that was a lot of work with Ben Franklin and John Adams, were the
That's
ones
right.
who were really doing that. But keep in mind that even though they eventually got there, helped us out, it wasn't until 2 years after the war started that they even bothered to sign a treaty, right? And
That's
another
right.
thing you got to keep in mind is at that time, there was a global war against the Brits involving
Right.
Spain, France, the Dutch, and anybody else who would join in, right?
That's right.
Another thing that people don't take into account is the French were very slow to show up and help us. Now, to be fair, they did send ships and they were helpful in that way, particularly in the Battle of Chesapeake Bay and Yorktown, of course, 1781. Right?
Yep.
That's how long it took them to get there, by the way. Right?
Yeah.
That's for those of you who can count. That's 5 years. Right? But
Right.
what we don't mention is the fact that the people who were quickest to help us, non-colonials that were quickest to help us, were actually the Spain and the Dutch. No
Yep.
one ever
The
talks
Hessians.
about this, dude. The Hessians
That's right.
were, a whole nother issue. But we don't get into that. But the Spanish and the Dutch particularly did a lot to help us way before the French finally got off their ass, right?
That's right.
I
Correct.
don't know why
100%
we never
correct in
talk
every
about
way.
this, because you never see a movie that shows a Spanish officer talking to George Washington, even though it happened a lot, or
Yep.
a Dutch one.
Well,
Matter of
because
fact, the
they
first
didn't
ship.
want the Brits to be as strong as they were. They were a problem. They were,
That's right.
as as much as the French have been a problem themselves, the Brits were a global problem too to every other power. They were nothing but
They
pieces of
were.
shit.
And the
Everybody
French
else.
were kind of bankrupt because of an earlier king, Louis. I know there were many
That's
Louis,
right.
but Louis, the first one who built that beautiful palace, Versailles, he bankrupted the entire country for generations. This is the problem the
That's right.
French had, right?
Yep.
But I mean, we literally had Spanish and Dutch ships, by the way, assisting and helping us way before the French did anything. But we never see it. We never hear anyone talking about it.
All you ever hear about is France is our greatest ally. Since when?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the only real big fight they did was that Yorktown battle I told you about in 81, 1781. That's the biggest thing
Yep.
they did, and that was useful. I'm not going to take that away because the Chesapeake Bay, people always going on about New York, New York, New York, but Chesapeake Bay is a very important waterway, right? And the French did open that up. So, let's be fair. But of course, where were these great saviors and helpers in later in 1812 when the British decided to try to burn shit down again?
Right.
Right? Where were they then? Oh, that's right. They were murdering each other in the frickin'
Yep.
tens of thousands. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Rant over. See, you guys keep wanting to
Rant
pull me
over.
into the history stuff. You don't want to do it. Numbers start flying.
No, it's just funny. It's very funny watching these people in these places that have no ability to project power at all. None. Not at all. They're still relatively wealthy compared to much of the southern world or much of the third world, but compared to America, they're poor as shit. The average American is far
Everybody
wealthier than
is.
the average
Yeah.
European by a factor, a big factor. So what are you saying? And you want to know what's crazy, Chester? That the best part about this, while this is all going on, Japan and America just keep getting closer, and I love
Yeah.
it because not only is the governments getting closer, right? They seem to really get along. People are because of Elon's Twitter has that auto translate feature now, and we can just talk to each other straight up. They speak in Japanese, we speak in English, and boom, and it translates it well enough that we can have conversations. So now all over in Japan, X Twitter is huge. It's bigger than anywhere else. Japan's the number one country for it, if I remember correctly. So we have all these interactions now between Americans and the Japanese, and a lot of Japanese people are saying things like, "Wow, I didn't realize Americans loved us so much." Yeah, we do. We like you a lot, actually. You're cool. We like you. You got samurais. That's cool. They didn't realize how much American culture is different from what they've been shown, and it's very interesting to watch in real time a whole group of people have their minds changed, if you will, because they're actually interacting with Americans or actual Americans, and it's just interesting to watch how much in common the average Japanese person on here and the average American person on here has. So one of the things that's happening while our relationship with Europe that has been nothing but abusive at best. You want to talk about like if this was a relationship, like you were dating somebody who was like Europe, all your friends be like, you got to dump that motherfucker. What are you doing? This is
Yeah.
not good. This is
It
a bad
is.
situation.
It is that kind of
Whereas
situation.
Japan and us are it's just becoming a love story. And I'm for it. I'm 100% for it. I've always been
Well,
for it. I think we need to strengthen Japan to an unbelievable degree and let them handle Asia while we handle over here. And that should
well,
just be the way it
yeah,
is.
because we're both staunch capitalists, is why we get along so well. But
Yep.
here's a last little thing before we move on to the stuff I want to talk about today with France. France spent, this is real, France spent billions of dollars a long time ago. So who even knows what the money would look like now? They spent billions of dollars around the world trying to make the international language French.
Yes.
Billions of dollars, decades of effort. So many, and that's not even counting all the huge amounts of diplomats sent out to try to do so. They've tried to corner markets. They've tried to influence. They did everything they could, billions and billions and billions, decades and decades of effort to try to make the world speak French. Now, in the end, we know that hardly anybody speaks French, and everybody speaks English, right? Now, I'm going to
Yep.
ask you two a simple little question. How much did the Americans, because this is an American thing, not a British thing, all right? How much did
That's
the
right.
Americans spend to make the world speak English as they do today? How much did we spend?
None.
Zero.
I mean, yeah, we just kind of gave them movies,
Yeah,
TV
it's
shows. So
movies
here you
and
go.
music. That's what it was. It was
Okay, and
movies.
music too. Yeah, take these. These are cool. You'll like
Yeah,
these, and they did,
yeah.
and that was
That's
it.
right. We spent literally
Actually,
about
no
half.
Europeans who I've talked to on like Discord or whatever who speak very good English. You would never even really
Yeah,
know if they didn't have a little bit of an accent. And they told me they learned it through songs and podcasts. They didn't. I mean, they learned it in school too a little bit, but they really learned it
yep,
in songs and
yep.
podcasts.
And it's true all over, right? I mean,
Yep.
every country in the world, non-English speaking country in the world has citizenry that doesn't speak English, of course. But it
Right.
depends on which one you're talking about, what percentage that is. But there is no country on this planet that doesn't have English speakers. Now, understand, literally, there are people in North Korea who speak English, right?
Sorry.
There are people in the Congo who speak amazing. Matter of fact, most of their population speak really good English. There is no
Yep.
country on this planet that does not have a sizable population that speaks English. And
That's right.
America spent not one red cent on it. This is the
Intentionally,
funniest
anyway.
fucking thing. I'm a philologist. This is
Yep.
philology comedy. It
This
is.
is what the comedy's like, huh?
This is
Right
what
there.
it's like. But no, that's funny as shit, dude. The French were so desperate. You don't understand how pissed they are about that. They are so beside
Listen,
themselves with that. And
I
America
know a lot of
did
people like to
nothing.
glamorize French, but it's an ugly language. I'm sorry, I don't like the
Uh,
way it sounds. It's insulting
eh,
language. It sounds like you're being condescended
it
to
it
all the time.
does.
Like
It does.
you know how German is real angry. It sounds angry, like it's got a tone to it. In Arabic, kind of sounds like you're clearing your throat, like you got something in your throat when you hear people. Right, that's what it sounds like. French sounds like you're being talked down to by a smarmy prick. The news is, if it's a French, you probably are because they're smarmy pricks
Yeah,
as a unit. It
but
seems
technically in French they can turn a phrase quite nicely. I mean, I know,
they
I
can.
know.
Well, it's a romantic language, of course they can, but English, it's just no properly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Bastard heathens compared to even Americans back in the day. Like you read some of their letters, you're like, damn,
yeah,
it's just a
yeah,
letter to his uncle, right? He
yeah,
just write to his
yeah.
uncle.
Oh no, where the education level has dropped sizably.
Yep.
It's rather shocking actually how dumb the modern American is. Now I'm curious, Booster. Your country is undergoing extreme financial problems and population problems, and amongst other issues. But everybody's got problems. But uh, what are you guys doing about all that? Do you have a savior? Is there someone who's stood up and said, "All right, we're going to get New Zealand back on track, and we're going to try to get things done"? Because Australia certainly isn't. They're going
No,
the other way. Now, I heard that you
they're
guys
going
had
to
a little bit
collapse
of,
into communism.
dude. Australia is going the wrong way. But I heard
Hmm.
New Zealand had a little bit of a conservative resurgence. Now I know they're having extreme financial problems, extreme, right?
Hmm.
But I'm just kind of because I'm not in country. I'm kind of curious. Are things getting better? Because I haven't heard any news out of New Zealand in a very long time. Last thing I saw was a bunch
No.
of dumb Maori up in your parliament doing a haka, and it was funny as shit.
The best part is when they think they look like intimidating or something.
They
I'm just
think it's
laughing like
cool.
that's
It's like,
hilarious.
dude, that is the best comedy ever, man.
Can be cool when you have a bunch of big jack dudes doing it.
Oh
Looks
no,
okay. That
oh
looks like a war dance.
yeah,
But when it's
yeah,
a bunch
yeah,
of
but
skinny little women, you're like, what are we doing here?
yeah,
What are you doing?
give me a Smith and Wesson, and it's all good. I don't really give a shit. But
Well,
yeah, it is
that's
funny.
straight up Indiana Jones. He's out there twirling his sword.
Yeah, yeah,
Bang! You
yeah,
just
yeah,
shoot
whatever, dude. Yeah, okay.
him,
Um,
dude.
but but no, seriously, I am kind of curious, was because I haven't. There's so much stuff going on in the world. I haven't really paid attention to New Zealand, unfortunately. Um, uh,
All
yeah,
I
no,
know
it
is
does
our
sound like that,
favorite
but yeah,
TV. He's doing all right. He's doing all right. Our boy, our original of this channel,
yep,
Kiwi.
yep.
He's in school, doing good in school. He's got him a job, doing good in his job. He's doing all right. Our boy's doing good. I'm
That's
happy
sweet.
for him. I'm very
That's
proud of
good.
him.
That's
Yeah.
good. Yeah, that's good to hear, dude. Excellent, excellent. But if you have an answer for that question, though, I mean, legitimately, I am curious. Um, But yeah. Anyway, let's move over and see. Aragon will save Kiwi Land. It would be nice, Maple Sheik. Yeah,
Someone should. Someone
yeah,
should.
yeah.
It's a
No,
beautiful country.
unfortunately, French does sound snobbish, even though it's not. It
Yeah.
does sound that way. But there are
It's
other
very vulgar.
languages that it is. Like I live in Japan, right? Speak Japanese,
Yeah.
and it's one of the ugliest damn languages on the planet.
Yeah.
It's
A
just
lot of
not
k
a pretty
sounds.
language. Now, if you want to
Mm.
sound badass, cool, oh yeah, it can work that way,
Yeah.
right? But it's not a pretty
Yeah.
language. Now, internally, when you're using it and living it, is it? Well, just like every other language, it has all the beauty of any language can. But it doesn't
Right.
sound good, man. It doesn't sound good. Matter of fact, my ear has gotten so good with Japanese that I can even pick out the distinction between a person who's trying to be the cool dude, who's trying to be the supportive dude, who's trying to be the cute girl, who's trying to be the mother. That level of nuance I've gotten to, right?
Hmm.
So Japanese has all the nuance of any other language, but it doesn't sound good. Yeah, I know that might sound inconsequential. It's like, yeah, well, that's normal, Chester. No, it's not. You clearly don't speak a second language. That is a big
Yeah.
deal to be able to recognize this. And it's funny
Can
because
you hear the accents?
oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, I can pick it all now.
Yeah.
But the thing is, because I am a linguist, right? Particularly
Right.
philology, but I'm
Cunning
a linguist.
linguist. Yeah.
Well, I am. But the thing is, I can read and write pretty much all the core languages on the planet, right? But
Right.
that doesn't mean I can speak them. I can understand them though. Like if I can watch a German movie, a Spanish movie, Russian, I can watch it and I can basically follow along. But it's a big difference between speaking it, right? A big difference. But I've been here long enough. Well, 20 years should do it. That Japanese is certainly my second language. It's become my second language, which I would never. You would, if you asked me, 30 years ago, I would never guess that to be true because I had zero
Yeah.
interest in the Oriental languages, zero, right?
And then you
Um,
moved over there and fell in love with Orient women, and now the rest is history.
that's right, that's right. But it is a really cool thing when you get to the point that you understand little nuances like that. You know, like
Yeah.
one of the biggest things to do in any other language is to have a phone conversation where you can't see body language, right? Or even
Right.
the facial movement and mouth movement, and comedy, right? Now,
Mhm.
Japanese comedy is pure shit. It's not good, but I do understand it. Well, no,
Yeah.
because they're stuck in the Laurel and Hardy day. They're stuck in it.
They're
It's
That's a
wholesome,
good place to
Chester.
be
They're
stuck.
uh,
wholesome.
okay. What was that,
No,
Grimlock?
no, I'm gonna disagree with you. That's a great place to be stuck because if you see what passes for comedy here,
Yeah.
Well,
you'd have to listen to fat cows like Hannah Gadsby walk around the stage go, "I was raped." Okay, where's the joke, bitch? That's not a joke.
what's a Hannah Gatsby?
Uh,
Exactly.
a fat cow that for some reason white liberal women like, and everybody tries to tell you she's funny, but she's never actually said anything funny ever.
Well, the big problem with most female comedians, not all, but most female comedians, their problem is the only jokes that they seem to be able to make is how smelly their pussy is. And that's pretty much the extent of
Yeah.
female
Uh,
comedy.
no, not really. That was Amy Schumer, Stephen asked, and she stole that from a dude.
Samantha Bee, same thing.
Samantha Bee was one of all the people who was with John Stewart got un unbelievable, unnecessary, undeserved amounts of praise.
They did. Yeah, there's just not many funny women, and we've gone into why. It's unfair, but it is what it is. There's
Life's
very few.
unfair.
Life is unfair. There are very few funny women, actually. Anyway, let me go over here and I did have stuff for our Easter here, and hopefully you guys all had a nice Easter. Um,
I didn't. I burnt the shit out of my thumb. So there's
Oh,
that. It's the worst one to get a burn on the hand of the fingers is the thumb
we
because you
use it a
need your
lot.
thumb.
Uh,
Yeah.
it's that human advantage. But yeah, no, I always enjoyed Easter though, because Easter actually has the most activities. I mean, Christmas is
You do
nice.
stuff.
Yeah, you do stuff on Easter. But and I do kind of miss it because one we had a thing with the church I was at that time, was there for years. It was down in the south, and they had a kind of corral area for the kids to play in, right, to make sure they didn't run in
Mhm.
the street, I guess. Um, and
Not never.
well, you know what I mean. Pet cemetery, anyway. But um, what they did every year on Easter, other than the egg hunt and all that other fun stuff you do on Easter, because it is fun. The sunrise service, breakfast together and all that kind of stuff. They had
Yeah.
a grease pig challenge every year for the kids. So all the kids would get into this pen, this corral. It was pretty. It was like a park, right? A small park. And they would take a pig, grease the hell little piglet, grease it up, drop it in, and the kids would go crazy trying to catch that thing. And I actually caught it one year. One year I was the catcher, and I was beaming with pride, boy, beaming, right? Um, but of course, what they would do with the pig is they would take it home and they would feed it for the year, and then come winter, you got a big full-grown pig. They send it off to slaughter, and you got a bunch of pork for the year, free. That's what the deal is, right? Here in
Yeah.
this village, they do something very similar, but they do it with eel and with tuna. You're literally trying to wrangle tuna out of a pool. Very similar,
Hmm.
same idea, same thing. But I just have so many great fond memories from Easter. Just a lot of fun things. Sunrise, I love sunrise service. We don't need to get
Hmm.
into religious conversations and stuff. It doesn't matter. Sunrise service is a great thing. It's just beautiful, nice. Um, and so Easter's a lot of fun. And of course, just like every other holiday, it is a mix of pagan and Judeo-Christian belief, but that's great, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Alan says he caught a grease pig once. Was her name Lila? I was with her for 6 months. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, but
Oh
no, I
no.
literally, I literally caught a grease pig and won that one year. Right? I did. I
Yeah.
actually was the pig catcher.
Mm.
It
That's
was
cool.
so, dude. I was so proud. I was a little kid, of course, but I was super proud of that achievement, man. And everybody was cheering, and everybody's happy. Even the other kids were happy.
Well, you know what I did at church one time, Chester? We had these. We were doing these like summer. They were games, but it was just for fun. It wasn't like a competition. And they had a thing where it was human bowling, right? Where you had to slide yourself down a little slip and slide and take out the pins. And I decided I was going to do that. I went running up, pop, 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 hit the slide all the way down, and my pants came off. Right
Nice.
there in front of God and everybody. Yep, I said, all right, that's fun.
How
That's a good
how
time.
old were you?
About 14.
Oh, okay. Well, that's it. Like, if you were 4, I'd be like, oh, that's cute. 14, no,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, I was a little mortified.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've never had that happen. Although I think twice in my life, which is shocking because usually I don't make the same mistake twice.
Mm,
I'm very very particular about if I make a mistake, try to not do it again, right?
right.
But I have made this mistake twice, where I had my fly was open,
Oh no.
you know, twice, Grimlock.
That's only bad when there's a girl that you like and you're talking to her, and like midway through the conversation, she's like, "Your fly's open." Then it's horrifying.
Mm, hmm I actually had that happen in the reverse. Um, and I try to handle it as best I could. Now, this was years and years ago, but it was one of my former students that had left and gone off to university. But
Mm.
she was, occasionally as a teacher, you kind of run into problem, a little bit of problem with female students. And I'm sure with the with female teachers, the reverse of students getting a little bit Twitter pated at you, right? It happens.
Ah,
And no problem. And when it first time it happens, it's a bit awkward. You trying to figure out, okay, how do I deal with this? But as if you be a teacher long enough, you learn how to deal with it pretty easily because it happens, right? But I had this girl who was that way, and she came back after she graduated university to see me and have a chat with me. And I was sitting there talking to her after because she came and joined a class and then stayed after, and I was sitting there talking with her. And the whole time where she's sitting there, being, coy. And it's kind of interesting in Japanese, the word koi literally means sexual love. Isn't that interesting? But it's
Mm.
spelled Koi. In their Romaji, they would spell it Koi. But anyway, and she's being coy, and I'm dealing with it professionally the whole time. But the whole time she's sitting there, her fly's open
oh,
the whole time. Now I'm sure after she must have realized this, right? Obviously, but that was because what do? You got a girl who's literally flirting with you, and she's way too young, 20 years too young, right? And she's hard flirting with you too, because she went off to university and clearly had herself some of the sex whilst at
Yeah.
university. Right now, her brain is locked in different, right?
Hmm.
So what do? Do you say, "Dear, your fly's open," as normally I would if a kid had like some lint on their shoulder or something? I would be very fatherly about it, right, and tell them and like, "Oh, you clean that up," that kind of thing. But in this situation, what do? Right? What do you do?
Right.
And of course, my solution for the problem was not to do anything, which is often a
solution was
good plan.
to do that
Yeah.
whole scene in anime form,
Yeah, 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 yeah. That
where Professor Kaiju-san, after all that flirting, goes, "Your fly is open,"
that would have been it
and
would
then
have
she
been
heard the anime
hilarious
play.
for me. But that wouldn't be very nice. I want to be
You're
nice.
very soft voice, very deep timbre to your voice. Your fly's open, just lower the register, like you're delivering news about the weather. Just
Yeah,
crush his
yeah.
entire world.
Right. But it's for me it would be like, baby doll, your fly's open.
Love it.
But I mean, now the funny thing is, I never saw her in person after that. I spoke to her a few times on the internet, but she never actually came back. Was she just moving on with her life? Probably. Was she mortified? Probably. Right.
Yep.
But whatever. But it is weird how often as a teacher you have to deal with this, and it makes sense. They're young and impressionable, and if you're funny and smart, because you're educating them, right? Girls gravitate toward that incredibly, right?
Yep.
I get that glow in the eye from girls all the time, and so learning how to manage that, to navigate that, is an important part of being a teacher, I think, right? And I also
Yes.
understand how we get some teachers, both male and female, mostly female, oddly enough, get themselves in trouble. I get it. I understand. But isn't it interesting that most of the impropriety coming from teachers is women, not men? It's mostly always women in the news. You think about it. How often do you hear about a
Yep.
male teacher diddling a student? You don't. How often
Well,
do you
I
hear
Well,
mean,
about
there's
a
hardly male
female?
teachers
All the
anymore.
time. What do you say?
it's really hard to find male teachers too nowadays. But
Yeah, but
yes.
even in the past, it's just because men have a certain decorum, right? We
Yep.
understand our responsibilities and we take it seriously,
Oh,
especially a teacher. I mean, Jesus.
I remember high school. Here's the thing that bothers me is we all have to act like high school girls over the age of 15, some even younger, are all these virginal little innocent chaste things.
They're not.
I remember high school. These girls were chasing them married men. I could hear them. They would tell me about it. They would tell me about flirting with him and imagining
Yeah.
what he'd be like. And I wonder what his dick looks like. I remember it. I was there. I seen it. I talked to him. See, here's the problem. A lot of dudes in high school didn't talk to girls like at all because they were either scared of them or they just didn't happen. I always preferred hanging out with females personally because when you're with dudes, and if I'm not in the mindset of I want to do the whole dick measure and head bumping contest shit, you're going to get that, right? Especially somebody like me. I'm very outspoken. I say what I think, and a lot of guys don't like that, so they decide that that's a challenge, even though I'm just telling them what I feel. Whereas with girls, it's you can do that, but you can do it playfully. It's a different dynamic, right?
It is. It
So
is. It
I
is. It
was
is.
more comfortable more often than not hanging out with the girls, and there was other reasons too, but you know what I mean. Uh, so I would hear them. I remember I had a teacher. His name was Mr. Moore. His name was actually Steve Moore. Same name as
Wow.
me, first name, last name Moore. And these girls, bro, they were. I mean, they were shameless in how much they wanted to have sex with him. And this was a Christian high school. I went to a Christian
Oh,
high school.
the Catholic schools are the worst. They are the worst.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was shameless. Some of these girls talking about what they would do, what they'd let him do to them. And this guy was married. They knew his
Oh
wife.
well,
She'd come in sometimes.
that just adds to it for females. Don't you notice
Oh,
that
it was.
once you put your ring on, you got a lot more female attention, didn't you?
That's why I don't wear one, Chester. That's one of the main reasons because I already get it enough. Just the other day, the wife and I we went shopping. They were having this big sale on drinks, right? And the Krogers around here, what they do is they limit how many you can get. So if you they around holidays they say if you buy two you get three for free. That's the big deal. But they only let you get 10. That's the limit. So what we do is we split up our cart so we can get 20. Because fuck you, I'm gonna get more, and it works. It's fine. It's not a problem. So we were in two different lines, but they were right next to each other. Right, that's your scene. There were self checkouts, and I'm checking out, and all of a sudden, the self checkout cashier supervisor lady just comes over and starts yapping at me. And I mean, she was complimenting me, talking about how good I am at this, blah 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 blah. And then all of a sudden, and this she was disgusting. I had no interest. All of a sudden, my wife, who completely oblivious to this, by the way, she's not paying attention. She was checking her shit out. She reaches over and hands me the debit card. Said, "Here, babe, I'm done." And I said, "Okay, thanks, baby." And she just walked away. The other
Yeah.
girl, she just left.
Yeah.
So I don't need a wedding ring. I don't need more female attention. I'm okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Well, there you go, Booster. Booster is desperate for the diddle. Therefore, put yourself a
For
wedding
the-
ring on, buddy. Now, seriously, any
Oh,
married man knows this. You wear a wedding
yes.
ring, you get a lot more female attention, dude. A lot.
Yep.
They're
And
like
and they
that.
also
Well,
you'll hear people say that men in their you'll see these people online, especially talk about how men in their 30s and 40s, women in late teenage and young adult women aren't interested in. That's some bullshit because this
Bullshit.
girl had to be no older than 21 years old.
Bullshit. Yeah, no, no,
Yeah,
no. Yeah, bullshit.
no,
Yeah.
that's just not true. Look, I get that women wish it was true so they wouldn't have to compete with younger women as they get older. I understand, sweetheart. I do. It sucks,
Yeah.
but it's just reality. It's
Here,
just the way it is.
here's the other part of the scenario, and this is, of course, I know this, but personal experience, right?
Hmm.
If I'm because it doesn't happen every class every year. It doesn't happen all the time, but it happens enough, right? But if
Yep.
I have a girl in class, whether it be primary school or secondary school, like a university, right? Um, Whatever it might be, whether I'm at the a Kaiwa or I'm at the university. Um, if there is one girl who is crushing on me and giving me those vibes, the other
Yeah,
girls start crushing on me too because they're
that's right.
competitive.
Yeah, and you've been selected now.
I have.
So you've been
Um,
selected.
so if I have none of that going on, it's peace and quiet,
Yeah.
right?
I've told guys before, if you're getting strung along by a girl, right? Say you like her and she kind of likes you, but it's just one of those situations. Sometimes you get in that situation. Okay. Flirt with her friends right in front of her.
Hmm.
Just just do it and see what happens. If there's a chance at all in hell that girl likes you and is going to want you, she's going to make it known right then.
Yeah,
It's going to come out very
it
quickly
is.
one way or another because
She's gonna
now she's got
elbow in,
competition.
buddy. She's gonna
Yeah.
elbows up,
Yeah.
elbows
Yeah.
up. Yeah,
It works every time. It works. It works 60% of the time. It works every time. All right,
that's
Chester.
right.
You don't worry about
That's
that
right.
math. That
That's
math
right.
works.
It does. So there you go, Booster. There's your tip of the day. Go get
That's
yourself
right.
a wedding ring and wear it. Anyway, let's get into this.
Yeah, you never know.
You
Oh,
never know.
this
maybe
is
he
hilarious
changes
to me.
his username to Desperate for the Diddle.
That's the problem, actually, with a lot of dudes. Women hate desperation. They hate it.
That's right. Don't be desperate.
Don't
Be
be
willing to
desperate.
tell her no.
The best thing you could do is not be so nice.
Yep.
Yeah.
Correct.
Best thing you could do
This
is
here,
pick on them.
this Mass Effect thing is funny to me
It is.
because for the last decade or so, Mass Effect's still around. It's still out there. Um, if you look at all the promotional material that you see for Mass Effect, you will see almost unanimously in the last decade or so the female version of Colonel Shepard,
Shepard. Yeah.
because you could be a male or a woman, man or a woman, right? Because of the big switch of how everything had to be about female, female, female. If you go back before that, you almost never saw her in promotional material because the male Shepard, their actual audience for the game was by far the more popular of the two to be
Right.
played.
See, I didn't even know that.
So it's very interesting to me that now that they're trying to reboot it a little bit, try and get some juice. They got the show coming. Allegedly, Mass Effect 4 is coming. They keep talking about it, but then all they do is they just talk about it. They never show anything.
That's right.
You see that there's a shift back to promoting the evil white male Colonel Shepard again,
Yeah.
because suddenly they need those gamers. Even though, as the headline of this article says, Mass Effect TV show reportedly ordered to rewrite scripts for non-gamers because whoever's making the show is a fucking retard. It's just, to me, it's like Halo. This should be a slam dunk. This should
Right.
be easy,
Well,
easy, and you just keep fucking it up.
well, here's the problem that I ran into, and maybe Grimlock probably doesn't. He probably doesn't have the problem. Um, I didn't know shit about Mass Effect. I didn't know nothing. So
Oh,
before the show, when I saw this, I
yeah.
went and researched because I don't know anything about it. I had an Xbox, and therefore I never could play Halo when it first came out. But I know more
Mhm.
about Halo than I do Mass Effect, which is a Xbox game, right?
It
But I
was,
never
yeah.
played it because I don't like FPS stuff, right? But I
Cool.
also don't like where I have to play your character. I never care for that. But nevertheless, so I didn't know. I don't know nothing. I know Halo. They're fighting the Reach, I think, right?
No,
It's like this ancient alien thing, right?
they're in the first Halo. They're fighting the Covenant.
Okay.
They're also fighting you also fight the Flood, and then it goes from there, and you fight all different situations. But yes, Reach is a place in Halo. It's a planet.
Oh, okay.
Reach.
See, I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know these things. But I really, really, really don't know anything about Mass Effect. However, I do know in this article it says two things. One, they feel that the story is too complicated for the average
Oh my god.
viewer, therefore they need to simplify it, which I don't know if that's true or not. One.
hmm
And
I'll
two,
simplify it in one sentence. Go ahead.
right? And two, they definitely don't want to tell Shepard's story.
No, of course not. Of
Okay, so
course not.
those are the two things that we know that the article is very clear about. So, what I did was, and I want your information about it, but I went and looked up. I asked the Grok what a Mass Effect is, and it gave me this right here, and it is really,
Yeah,
really simple, actually.
it is
It's very
super simple.
simple. Humans
Yeah,
find a mass drive and they develop it and start using it. They make a lot of alien friends, and then there's a
that's right.
conspiracy to work with some ancient evil to kill all organic life.
That's right.
End.
Ancient machine evil, artificial intelligence
Yeah.
evil.
End.
Yep.
End.
That's it. Very
That's
simple.
it. Yeah.
Not complicated. Of course, there's more depth to it than just that, obviously, but that's the fun of a show. You can actually dig into that a little bit, get into the lore a little bit, have some fun, tell some stories. But we're not going to get that. If this show even ever actually exists, it's just going to be the Halo TV show all over again.
It will
It's going to
be.
be an
And
absolute abomination.
yeah, and they've been very clear that even though the first three games, which were successful, are all about Shepard's mission to save the universe,
Yeah,
Mass Effect Andromeda was a mammoth failure because it was super woke and buggy, and the message is
yeah,
more important than gameplay, right?
that's right.
That's what they got. They got four things. Three were successful. One was an absolute bomb. The fourth one, to be meaning in order, we've covered here, and we have, other than them saying they want to do it, we have no information. However, my question is this, and this is for you and Grimlock if he knows the game.
Yeah.
seeing as the only three successful installments of Mass Effect are all about this guy, Colonel Shepard, and his
Yep.
mission to save the universe.
Commander,
Uh,
actually. I kept calling him Colonel, but it's
Commander, whatever.
Commander. I don't
Okay,
know why.
whatever. Shepard. Which of
Shepard.
course it's interesting he's named that, but I won't get into that.
Well,
Um,
it's no, that's 100% why. The enemies are called the Reapers, and he's Shepard.
oh, I
So
get
go
it.
ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
But how do you tell a story about Mass Effect without telling his story? Because it seems like the whole thing, and they do. It seems from the little bit of research I did that they do a real good job of world building in the game.
Yep.
So there's a
hmm
lot of aliens and different places you go and stuff, and that's great. But the whole story is about this black op special, special soldier guy
Spectre.
dealing going after a specific dude who is working with an ancient cybernetic evil. So it's
hmm
literally a very one-on-one situation, really.
hmm
How do you tell a Mass Effect story because that's the story. How do you tell that without Shepard?
Well, you
Simple,
could
you
do
don't.
it, but you shouldn't. There's no reason to. Shepard's an iconic character. He's not quite up there, I wouldn't, in my opinion, not with like your
Master
Master Chiefs,
Chief.
but he's close. He's up there. Uh, he's beloved. There's a reason why they haven't touched him in over a decade, even though technically, if you play through the third game, he does survive at the end if you do the right ending. So they could easily have him still be out there. But you really don't, especially since it's been so long since the games. The last game came out in 2012, I believe, or at least the third game. We're not going to talk about Andromeda; it doesn't matter. So there's a long time between them. So if you're going to do this, you'd have to do it from the beginning, and the beginning is Shepard's story. So what you were talking about, you were describing the first game. That's Shepard versus Saren. Saren is a former Spectre. Well, he's a Spectre when the game starts, but he becomes a former Spectre as the story unravels to find out he's a traitor. And Shepard is the first human Spectre. Humans are new to the galaxy, or new to the grand stage of the galaxy.
Uh-huh.
So he's the first human Spectre, and that's the character you play, and you stop Saren. Now, the Reapers aren't really in the game too much. They are, but they're the background coming threat situation. And Saren is corrupted by them, and it's a whole long deal. But my point is, that story should be easy, because for the first half of it at least, it's basically just spy versus spy type of stuff, right? It's you're a super soldier, effectively, not really, but you're a super agent. He's a super special agent. You go after him to try and stop him. They send you out there to try and to stop him once it's found out what he's doing. And that's pretty much the first game. Like I said, slam fucking dunk. We've been making James Bond movies forever. It's basically, Chester, it's kind of like GoldenEye. You know how GoldenEye is about
Yeah.
James Bond versus another Double O because the Double O defected, basically, or
Right.
went
Right.
rogue? That's what this is, but it's in space with a bunch of space aliens and spaceships and shit. Obviously, there's also basically like a form of magic and telekinetics that's caused by the Mass Effect and all of that. But that's all cool stuff you can actually play with in a show if you have people who are competent. One of the things I will give the Fallout show is, yeah, they've done some really weird shit with the lore, and yeah, the main character's a chick, and I get it. It's annoying. But when it comes to how they've integrated the lore into the show, they've done so, in my opinion, very, very respectfully. And I just think that you're not going to get that with this. By all accounts, they're doing everything they can to make this the Halo show part 2, where all it is they just slap the name on it, they take the veneer and the aesthetic, and they think that's going to be enough. No, I'm going to tell you how I know it's not going to be enough. Because Mass Effect 3, while technically the best game to play, is one of the most hated games ever made because the ending was terrible. They had promised us through 3 games, well, through the 2 games and into the third one, that all of our decisions in the first one, the major ones, would matter at the end of the third one. That was the promise. That was the big sell of the trilogy. That this is all going to matter. What you do, what you choose, is going to have major effects on the last game. That was a lie. That's not how it panned out. For various reasons, it just didn't happen. So people hated it. Now they don't hate the universe. They don't hate Shepard. They don't hate anything else. They just hated how it ended. So my point is, there's still lots of love for Mass Effect. I actually last summer I played through the whole trilogy again. It's still one of the best trilogies ever made. It's just so good. It's so good. It's so polished. One of the things that it does that is very hard to do. You're in a sci fantasy setting with all these different alien species and all this and da 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 all this technology, but they made it feel very realistic to how people would respond to things. And
Right.
that's one of the things that Star Trek used to do better than anybody
Right.
was how
The
how
human perspective.
honest it felt.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what Mass Effect did. That's what made Mass Effect special, honestly. And the
Interesting.
fact that when you finally get to that third game, the Reapers do their whole invasion of the entire galaxy, and people are dying in the millions all over the galaxy, and you have to go out and try to find some way to stop them. You feel it, like it's heavy. You're like, oh shit, okay,
So you
because they did
failed.
such a good job
So
of
you failed.
personalizing it. No, you succeed in the end. You do stop them,
Yeah, but
but
I
they
mean,
do a
so
lot
you
of damage
didn't.
before you stop them.
Right. So you failed to stop it.
You failed to stop them from getting here, yes, from coming. Yeah, because
Hmm.
so the first game you're trying to basically what happens is you're trying to stop Saren, but you don't really know what Saren's up to. You just know that he's
Sure.
gone
Makes
rogue and is
sense.
taking people out. You find out about right near the end. There's a big climactic moment where you find out that he's in service to these machine gods, effectively called the Reapers, that have existed for all a very long time. And every 50,000 years or so, they come back and wipe out intelligent life and only leave basic rudimentary life. They're harvesting. That's what they're
Thank
doing. That's
goodness.
why they're called the Reapers. And so that is your main goal, is to try and stop them. By the end of the second game, it's very obvious you're not going to succeed at that. They are going to get You're not going to be able to keep them out of the galaxy because they're coming from everywhere. They basically all outside the galaxy, and they eventually do hit with their invasion. And then the third game is you trying to be the ones that find a way to stop them. Spoiler,
Right.
of course, we do. We find one way to stop them, but the way that we stop them was very, very, very unsatisfying to
Yeah.
the player base,
Yeah.
and
The
that's a shame
story's
because so much of the buildup was so good. And
right.
most of Mass Effect 3 is phenomenal, to be honest. The game, it's just the last 3 hours or so is just very disappointing. Very, very
Oh, I
disappointing.
see. It's unfortunate, but I
So
see
my
why
point
it's
is, the reason
popular,
I'm
though.
bringing that up is because, oh, it's so good. It's really good. The reason I'm bringing that up is because the fan base will absolutely eviscerate them if they don't give them something satisfying. It doesn't have to be what they want necessarily, but it has to satisfy
Yeah,
them.
but
And we know this. It was so bad, Chester, that BioWare, was still BioWare at the time before they completely fell apart, had to go back and basically redo, not really, but recontextualize each one of the endings and do more ending scenes in a bunch of free DLC at a time when companies weren't giving out free DLC.
right,
They were basically, because of all the pressure, forced into giving us a more satisfying ending. And they did.
right.
But the
But
original ending, I remember I played it. I was super excited for Mass Effect 3. Was I played it and I just kind of stared at the screen for a while like, that's it? That's what we
wow,
got? I
that's
was
too bad.
so stunned.
That's too bad.
So
But
stunned.
But here's the thing, though. This article is very clear. They've already stated because they don't know exactly what they're doing, but they've said very clearly we're not doing Shepard's story. They're doing
Yep.
the story after the trilogy, right? But
Which
here
to me is stupid
it
because they're
is
supposed to
stupid
be making a
because
fourth game, which is going to
well,
be based then.
right, but it may be that they're collaborating with that. However,
Maybe.
No, you
the
know why they're doing this.
yeah, I know why they're doing it, dude.
There's no need to
But
pontificate on this any further. You know exactly why
I
the
know.
fuck they're doing it.
But the
You've
sad
seen this
thing,
lately.
Grimlock, the sad thing is this. Um, Most people don't know anything about Mass Effect like me, right? Most humans,
Right.
right? And
Yeah.
therefore, having something that is so condensed down to literally spy versus spy as your first entry or series, dude, that's perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
basically Mission Impossible set in space in the future. Come on, dude.
Yep.
That
Yep.
is
That's
perfect.
exact. And then the second one takes it even further. It's basically another Mission Impossible situation where you become the rogue agent. You have to go outside the government and work with basically what's called it's called a terrorist organization, but to get, because your goal now as Shepard is to stop the Reapers. That's all you care about. You're not worried about the law or any of this stuff. You know what's coming, and of course, government bureaucrats don't believe you, right? They
Yeah.
still don't believe you.
Of course
So
not.
that's the idea.
Or they choose
Yeah.
not to. Yeah, no, dude, that sounds perfect. So these are morons, as usual. I'm going to go get some coffee, but I do want to make one little statement, and you're going to laugh at me, but that's okay. Um,
Oh,
you guys all know my favorite game is The Sims, and
yes,
they
sir.
give us downloads, free DLC all the time, right?
Right.
And of course, they also give paid DLC. I mean, anybody who, like me, who's been playing the game for a long time, we've put over $1,000 in this game. Most expensive
Right.
video game ever. However, I remember because we just got recently like Coach, which I don't really give a shit about, but we got like this huge Coach download with a bunch of clothing and bags and all kind of stuff, right? And for
Hmm.
free, right? Because they'll do collaborations. But I remember years ago, we got a download and it had this N7 on everything, right?
Yep.
And a whole bunch of stuff. And I never, it's some of it's really cool, and I do use it in the game as far as clothing, but I
Mhm.
never knew what the hell it was. Now see it's somehow connected to Mass Effect. What is the N7?
Yeah. Very simply, N7 is a human special forces situation that Shepard was a part of before he became a Spectre. It's how you become, like how you get
Oh,
in
I see.
line to be the first human Spectre. He's the best N7 agent. So it's kind of like CIA or whatever, MI5, whatever. That's the idea.
Oh, okay.
And so throughout the whole games, I think every single one of them, he keeps his N7 on his chest as a, like a reminder or whatever.
Right.
Uh, but yeah, that's what it is. So it's a human special forces operation,
Oh,
N7.
okay. Yeah, I just never knew what it was. I mean, it looked sci-fi, so I figured it was something. I didn't know what it was though. But
Yep.
because actually one of the best N7 things we got out of that download was because at that time a modder had put out a way to take robots, because there are robots in the game, right? Um, had come out with a way to take robots and you could humanize them or make
Right.
different kinds other than what they had. Now, there's a modder, it's not part of Maxis, but one of the things Maxis put in was like Android skin with N7 on it and N7
Yep.
tattoos. And I was like, I've used it, right? But I never knew what it was. Okay, cool. I'm going to get some coffee. I'll be back.
Jester's gonna get
Oh,
coffee. No, it's to me, it's the same thing, Grimlock, where you had the Halo show. Everybody wanted a Halo live action, something or other, TV show, movie. I personally still think it could be a massive blockbuster success, even with all the bullshit they put that franchise through for the last 15 years or so. But we didn't really get that. We got something that had its skin on it at best. Him taking his helmet off. I don't know. That to me, I mean, that's like having Mario be a tall, thin guy. It's like basically you swap Mario and Luigi around. It doesn't make any fucking sense. There's certain things about that character that are tantamount to the character, and one of them is Chief in his helmet. And Bungie knows that because they never took his damn helmet off. Everybody was curious. I wonder what he looks like under there. I wonder what he looks like. I wonder what he looks like. You know what they said? That's for us to know, and you not to find out. And everybody was like, all right, because we don't need that information. That's not the point of the character. So you do a whole show about Chief, and 90% of the damn show he ain't got his helmet on. What are you doing? What are you doing? And I think we're going to get the same thing with Mass Effect here. Even if they somehow avoid using Shepard at all, maybe they'll do it 100 or 200 years in the future from the time of the Reapers. I don't know. I don't think it's going to work because very similar to what happened with the Warcraft movie, and I like the Warcraft movie for what it is. You can't always start at zero. You just can't. Sometimes you need to just take what you're given and start there. So a great example of that would have been in the Warcraft movie. Instead of starting way back at the beginning of the Warcraft games lore franchise, if they would have started with Warcraft 3, the one that everybody knows and the story that everybody loves, and just started there and then used the other stuff as like flashbacks or setup or whatever, and just started right at the, where it actually started to take off. From Warcraft 3, you went right into WoW, and then obviously the rest was history. they would have had much more success, in my opinion. If they would have done live action Arthas or set up live action Arthas directly, and Thrall and all the greats from Warcraft 3, they would have went much further. So one of the problems this is going to have is, okay, people know the name Mass Effect, cool. Some people might even know, besides gamers, might even know something about that. It's kind of it's spacey and about shooting and blah 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 blah, right? But they're not going to know much of anything else. And if you think you're going to introduce a new audience to something that is very hard to get a new audience to, you're deluding yourself. Even Star Trek can't get new audience. It hasn't done it in 25 years. That should tell you something. And they've been around since the 1960s. Star Wars can't get a new audience.
Well,
Hasn't been able to do it at all. That should tell you
yes,
something. Maybe cater to
the
your audience that already exists. Just a thought.
well, it's
Go ahead.
it's not that they can't get a new audience. They hate the people who like these things. It
Yep.
isn't in the case of Star Trek and Star Wars. Nobody on God's green earth is going to convince me that the people who have been writing those those movies, those TV shows, especially Starfleet Academy,
Yep.
were diehard, longtime Star Trek fans. You don't write shit like that
No.
in your opinion. You don't. And the thing, other than the obvious why they're making this show, um, other than malice, I can't figure. There's no other than maybe. Well, I'll throw in incompetence. Other than malice and incompetence, there's no reason to change the story.
Right.
And the reason being is the if your target audience is going to be a younger audience, because let's be frank, ain't a bunch of fucking boomers, ain't a bunch of 65-year-olds talking about, man, they need to make a Mass Effect TV show. Um, and but the audience that is most likely the younger audience that you're seeking, that they all swear that they're seeking, many of them grew up playing this game because we already do know that at least in the last 20 or so years, video games by far have been the single most purchased form of media anywhere. So I'm sure I've never played a Mass. You know that I've never played a Mass Effect game, but I'm 100% sure that at least the original trilogy, the sales was in the millions. So
Oh, yeah. Big time.
if you, if you just adapt the motherfucking source material, you will have an easy hit of millions. Not 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 tens of hundreds of thousands, or you don't have to make up numbers like a lot of these companies do these days, or pull up some bullshit up. Most engagement on social media, like that means anything. You'll have actual views. You'll have actual justification for whatever budget this show is going to get, and justification to continue its production.
Yep.
It's not fucking hard. It's other than malice and incompetence. There's no reason why a Mass Effect show can't work. If you tell Shepard's story, you should have a good enough story. And if you want to add other fucking characters down the road, guess what? After 3 seasons or whatever the fuck, if y'all don't take 20 years to put out 3 fucking seasons, you can fucking do that. You can go make your new faggoty fucking character if you want to. It'll kill the show,
Spin-off.
but you can do that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it sounds like to me that just telling the straight up Shepherd story is a home run, dude. It's
Slam
easy.
A
dunk.
lot of them are.
Matter of fact, when I
And
saw that picture, the first thing that came in my head was Chris Evans.
And,
Yeah.
and you know the and the stupid argument that they'll be like, oh well, we're trying to make it more palatable for non gamers. Bullshit. Because most people, if a show is good, they don't give a shit
Y-
if they're gamers or not.
Fallout,
Dude,
great
Miss,
example.
There's
Fallout, yeah,
there's
but
plenty of
Miss,
anime. Well, historically, there's been plenty of people who became fans of something that they didn't know anything about the source material. That's like, could you imagine executives back in the day who was adapting a movie, a TV show, or a movie from a book, and some stupid executive says, "Well, we have to make it more palatable for illiterate people because they never read the book." No, motherfucker, you just adapt the fucking material; they'll come.
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's clearly we know why they're doing this. You said that in the beginning, but uh, it's slam dunk, dude. I mean, Mission Impossible in space writes itself. What
You
more
would
do
think
you need for the people? Of course, we need to rewrite it so they understand. Well, dude, that's the whole point of telling the story from the beginning. You know.
And Chester, you know what's crazy? Because it's you got space aliens and what have you. You get to you get to tick your boxes, lefties, real easy. You get to do all your diversity, blah rah rah. You get
Right.
to do all that stuff
Right.
real easy because you have all these different alien species. That, by the way, the only character besides Shepard that's more beloved is Garrus, and he's a Turian who is a big like lizard man thing. I don't even know what you describe how to describe Turians, but you'd have to see them. And everybody loves Garrus. Garrus is the homie. He was so beloved. BioWare was against it at first, but by this, I think the second or the third game, they were fine with like having a female Shepherd fault, have a romance with him because he was so beloved. Everybody loved him. Everybody loved him. They're like, we would like that, please. The few people who were out there playing the female Shepherd wanted to get them some Garrett. They wanted all in on that boy. It's very strange to me. And by the way, the bad guy of the first game, Saren, is one of his species. Uh, it's very strange to me why you would think you need to change such a simple concept. Now, obviously, it gets more grand scale, right, with the Reapers and the coming invasion, and especially the third game is just a full-on galactic war. And that's fine because you built to that. You showed the world, you showed the consequences, you showed that this is a living, breathing situation across the galaxy, right? And you got to see the seedy side of it, especially the second game, right? You go into the underworld and stuff. They really did a great job of building a living, breathing galaxy. I would say even better in a lot of ways than Star Wars, especially the Star Wars films, where a lot of the stuff that people love about Star Wars was from the expanded stuff, right? Where it got fleshed out more. They did a much better job of really building that living, breathing situation in the games themselves. Now, obviously, there's books and comics and everything. You asked earlier how many of these copies were sold. The original trilogy sold around 25 million.
Wow.
It really depends how
Wow.
many how you break
That
it down because
I,
it was also on Game Pass.
it doesn't matter.
And
25 million is a mega hit.
yeah, it was huge. The
Mega hit.
BioWare shouldn't be out of business, but they are because they're
Morons.
retarded and
Well,
yeah.
Arena, or not, or was it Arena? What was the name of that game? That could have been super cool, and they screwed that up. Was it Arena?
No, it was
Aria?
oh, come on. I don't remember. That's how bad. Anthem.
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 Yeah, I knew it was
Yeah.
musical. Dude, that game should have been badass. They couldn't get
Yep.
past themselves in their freaking loot boxing, though. Anyway,
Yep.
let's take a look at the races here. I'm interested now. So,
Now, there's an Asari.
I've
Yep.
seen
They're all
pictures.
Asaris, by the way, Chester, Asaris are all girls. They're a completely female species. They can breed as girl on girl if they need to,
So they're
or they can breed.
hermaphroditic.
They can breed with anybody else as well. Any other race. That's just how they are. They're extremely sexualized. And considered to be, basically extremely exotic, right? They're very very much fetishized in
So
this world,
transgenders.
openly. They're not even trans. They're just all female. Period. They're all
Yeah, but
female.
if they're making babies, they need certain genitalia.
Well, they have a different way of doing it. I don't remember. They explain it. I don't remember exactly, but yes, they can in fact have children amongst themselves. Obviously, without males. There's no males in them at all. They're all female race.
Yeah, so they're
And they can
hermaphroditic.
also
Right.
have normal sex with males, because that particular Asari is one of the main companions, and she's one of the main love interests for Shepard.
Really, they're not very attractive.
Well, they're supposed to be.
No.
And the game really wants you to think they are. But regardless, the Asari are a really interesting race. So the oldest race, they're obviously they're matriarchal because they're all females, but they're the oldest race that's at that level, that's at the galactic travel level. Because everybody discovers these Mass Effect gates. That's what they're called, mass drivers. And that once you discover it and you activate it as a species, you're able to join the network of them, and that's how they get around faster than light, not being fast enough. They quite literally just get catapulted at super light speeds
Well, I
to each of
know,
these networks.
I know scientifically what a mass drive is.
Yeah,
So I mean, I
so that's
get
what
it.
it is. But each basically they've been seeded throughout the galaxy by the Reapers, so that they know where, and they can use them too. Of course, they know roughly where intelligent life's going to be, able to activate these gates, these drivers,
hmm
and then basically the idea is the Asari in this cycle were the first to do so of this cycle. So they're considered the oldest race because of that, and they
Okay.
live very, very long too. They live like 1,000 years, something
Yeah, it
like that.
says
They're
so.
basically elves. Yeah,
So okay, so they're hermaphroditic elves. Okay, sorry.
pretty
Uh,
much. Yeah.
Drell.
The Drell. The Drell are a very interesting race. They were introduced mainly in the second game. They're of a reptile evolution. They also come from the same world as the Hanar, which are the squid men. Well, they're not men; they're just giant squids that can walk around on outside of in the air, basically. And they have like a semi-symbiotic relationship. These two do. These guys do a lot of their military and protection and stuff like that. And the Han are very much they're scientists and they're spiritualists. But the Drell are really really interesting. This particular Drell is an assassin that you team up with in the second game. He's a badass. He's dying, and he isn't. He can either die in the second game or he can die at the beginning, near the beginning of the third one, depending on what you do, your choices.
Right.
But he's really cool. I can't remember his name though. It might say it in that little thing there. Uh, but he's a really cool
Rahana.
character.
Oh, that's their
No,
home
that's
world.
their home world. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't. What the hell was his name? Why can't I remember his name? I can't remember his name for some reason. But
Doesn't
he was
say.
quite cool.
And they keep
But
mentioning
that's
in
when they
this
showed
one
up.
too. They mention the word citadel. What is citadel? Citadel council. What is this?
The Citadel is a massive space station that is pre current galactic civilization. That the
Not the Reapers.
uh,
Somebody else. Okay.
no, the Reapers made it. That's the big twist. It was
So the
made. The
Reapers
third
are.
game reveals it.
So it's kind of like Jupiter Rising. They let these Reapers let humanity and sentient grow, and then they come in periodically and
Yep,
harvest it for some purpose. What is their
harvest
purpose?
them. Well, it's not fully explained. It's just heavily implied. They're trying to effectively evolve, and the way they do that is through harvesting and then effectively assimilating the biogenetic material. So the other reason is because whoever created them, which you do get to meet, and I think it's in the third game. They're still around. They're just hiding. They're called Leviathans. They basically look like the Reapers, but regardless, they were created originally to help them. The Reapers became sentient on their own, or sapient on their own, and they came to the conclusion that uh, life must be harvested, must be curated, or else it'll go out of control and destroy everything,
So the Thanos
including the
concept.
galaxy.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically they pop in every so often, around 50,000 years or so, wipe everything out, and leave enough behind so that sentient life can eventually get to a certain point, and then they pop back in to take it back out. And they've done this multiple times. The Citadel is extremely old, millions and millions of years old. We don't exactly know how old exactly, but the government for the galaxy, because all of the gates lead to the Citadel, the government for the galaxy always ends up there because it was designed to. The people they just don't realize they've been breadcrumbed is the idea by the
Right.
Reapers.
Well,
That's what
no,
you kind of figure out over time of
it's
the game.
literally like a farmer harvesting.
Yeah,
Yeah, I get it.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay,
So
so we
that's what you figure out over. That's the big conspiracy you sort out over the length of the game. That this whole thing's been set up by these
yeah,
machines long before we were even anything.
yeah. Now, so far these are very human looking, but they got like weird tentacle hairs. These
Hmm.
guys are still humanoid, but they at least look somewhat alien. Let's see here. We have the Elcor.
There you
That's not
go. There's
human at
some
all.
non-humanoids. Nope. Elcor are very cool. They talk in a very interesting dialect. It's very hard to explain. You just have to hear it. They're traders. They're very mercantile, and they're not. You even get to see. I think you even get to see them fighting in the third game, which is pretty cool because they're big, they're huge, and they're basically tanks, right? They just charge in and smash. Uh, but they're pretty cool species, but not humanoid at all. They're one of the non-humanoid species. The other one is the Hanar of the main like group. That is I'm sure they're next. Actually, they're
Yeah,
the squids. They look like big squids, but they're
cool.
cool. The Elcor are cool. They'd be
I
really
like
cool to see in live action.
I like the fact that it's not all like that.
Yeah,
Star
no,
Trek
it's not.
for well, that's budget reasons, we know, but that
Yeah,
is good. And of course, when you're doing something that's animated, you can do different aliens.
right.
Oh, okay, it's a weird
Jellyfish.
look.
Well, jellyfish is a better term for them. Yeah, jellyfish species. The Hanar. They have multiple legs, as you can see. They stand on them. They talk in a very the way they speak is very interesting because they're a very faith based culture. I can't remember what they call them. It
Is
probably
it?
says in here, but
Do they speak telepathically or something?
it's not stated to be telepathic, but they do luminesce when they speak. So I'm assuming it's internal, like they don't have an
Yeah,
external mouth, obviously,
they speak well.
and
Yeah,
it vibrates through them, and that's why you can hear it. But they're very interesting because they're extremely faith based. And what they have is they have a belief in what they call the enkindlers, the people who gave them intelligence, and it is believed that it was the civilization before. Right, they don't think this way. They think of them as gods, of course. But for everybody else, it's believed it was a civilization before called the Proteans. I think is their name.
well, it says
That
that
the
they
Reapers
found
wiped
a
out.
protean artifact that gave them mass
Yeah.
drive on Mars.
Yep. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, it's the Proteans. That's what it was called. And the Proteans are the civilization that came before. They came before all of the current civilizations. They were also wiped out by the Reapers, but they were the ones to get the closest to stopping them, to actually pulling up a proper resistance. Of course, obviously they failed. But one of the things they did is they left the breadcrumb as well on the only thing that they come up with that might be able to stop the Reapers, and that's obviously what you figure out over the course of the three games.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting. Now, of course, I wonder if there's a wink, wink, because it sounds like this is intelligent,
It is, yeah.
intelligently written and created. So, do you ever get to see a protean?
Yes,
You do.
yes.
Okay.
Yep, there's one that was in stasis that you find, and he
Of
actually
course, yeah,
joins your crew.
there usually is.
Yep,
That's typical sci-fi story. Tie.
yep,
Because the word protein, of course, is going to be coming from proteus, which simply means in Greek first.
right.
But there's also now I asked you if you've seen one because you tell me this because protean is also a name for a Greek sea god,
Mm-hmm,
who a Titan,
mm-hmm,
right? One of the
mm-hmm.
originals. Are the proteans fishy like?
No, but what they do have, it's interesting you said that, they have this ability. It's very hard to explain, but it's really cool. So they have this ability to see memories through harmonics. And the way they do it is the protein guy, he puts his hands in this big vat of like liquid, and
Yeah,
he's able to like read memories and store memories and
yeah,
things like that
yeah,
through the water, through the
yeah.
liquid.
I
So
like
it's
clever people
yeah,
writing stuff. I like it.
yeah. Oh,
Yep,
oh, it's very well written. Yeah, the
yep.
proteins are cool. They're
First
extremely racists. The
and Greek
proteins,
sea gods. Of
100%.
course they are.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. But that okay, that's interesting so far. So we got the Henar. We have humans, of course, which we don't need. We
Humans,
have keepers. What's a
keepers.
keeper?
The keepers are a docile race of creatures that exist only on the Citadel. They do is go around and maintain it. It is you can't really stop them from this because they'll just keep going until you allow them to do it. They don't speak, they don't interact with you, they will completely avoid you and ignore you. They are 100% a servant race to the Citadel. Now, there are people who try to study them, but then eventually that was outlawed because the idea was that it's better to just let them do what they do than it is to try and get in their way because the Citadel's too important and they
Right,
do their
they
job.
maintain the Citadel. They were created
Yep.
by the Reapers, and they're
Yes.
always the same number, it said here, and somewhere deep in the facility is where they're created. Makes sense.
Yep. Yep. But so that's all they are. It is believed that of course this isn't confirmed because the Reapers are stopped, but it was believed that the idea was that the humans were going to take their place, the Keeper's place. Eventually, that was what the Reapers wanted after they ran into the Shepherd. After Shepherd stopped them, because at the end of the first game, with the help of Shepherd and obviously humanity is leading the charge, they destroy a Reaper, and it's the first time that's ever happened. Well, first time in a very, very long time that's ever happened. So
What does a
the
Reaper
Reapers took
look like?
great interest. I bet if you keep going down, they'll show you. But it's a giant ship. This thing is monstrous in size, humongous. These things they're not when I say they're machines, they're not just consciousness. You know how we have a lot of like in the Matrix, right? They just become digital, but they can take on physical form. These aren't that. An individual Reaper is the size of basically the largest ship you could even imagine. It's even bigger than that. It's huge, and I think they say it's like a civilization unto itself. Each Reaper, because that's how massive its mental capacity is. These things are humongous, and they're nearly indestructible, and they're incredibly powerful when they attack. So
I see.
the fact that humanity is able to take one down is a big deal, especially to the Reapers.
I see.
Solarians are awesome. Chester, you'd love Solarians. Solarians are total nerds. They're the nerd race,
Vulcans.
as you can
All right.
see. They're very reptilian. They live unlike the Vulcans, they live incredibly short lives. They mature very, very quickly to full adulthood, and they usually live to only about 30 human Earth years. But they're unbelievably efficient scientists because that's all they do. They don't need to sleep like humans do. They don't really slow down. So the Solarians that you run into are usually they speak very quickly. They're very, very efficient, and they're always on task, goal-oriented type people because they don't have very long lives. They're very short-lived. They did something some would say was terrible, but others would say was necessary. They unleashed something called the genophage, and I'm sure you're getting to them eventually. The Turians are next, but you'll get to them. They basically neutered an entire race to stop them from hyperbreeding,
No.
and it was in the middle of a war. So it was what they considered a necessary evil to do.
Interesting.
That's kind of the big sin that the Solarians are trying to live with. There's the Turians. Now these are your typical militaristic people. Yeah, they're very Klingon-y. They have very Roman-y sounding names. They're just cool. Like they're just cool. They're ruled by a Primarch. Like they're just a cool species. Great idea. A great hybridization of concepts. Very honor bound. Very about law and order. Garrus is that's not Garrus, by the way, but Garrus gets he's very much that. He was a former basically a cop on the Citadel who was chasing Saren effectively because he figured out he was crooked, but Saren's a Spectre, so he can't really touch him. So he was trying to find ways to get leverage on him effectively.
Right.
And then he eventually joins up with you because you're going after Saren. That's the story. And he's super much, big time into the law, big time into justice. In the second game, when you run into him again, he's become a vigilante where he's at because the place is so corrupt that he's just He's a sniper. Yeah, no, this is a different place. It's called, I think it's called Omega. It's basically, it's similar to the Citadel. It's not as big, but it's a big space station. But it's run by the underworld. It's run 100% by criminals. So he obviously has a problem with that, and he becomes a vigilante called Archangel. And he just takes people out, and then he pick them back up. He's pretty cool. You'd like him. You'd like Garrus a lot. There's the Volus. These I don't. Nobody really knows what a Volus looks like because these are suits, obviously, that they're wearing.
Right.
But they're very short. Think like dwarf short, but they're very bulbous, and they're very much. The best way I can describe them is they're Jews. They're
Okay.
incredibly tribalistic. They're very much, they'll cheat you. They don't care if they cheat you. They're very contractual, that kind of thing. Very legalistic, and they have no problem with sending people after you to kill you if they have to. So very, very much that archetype. They're cool though. They're nice, and they're in these suits all the time. So when they speak, it has like that rasp, right? Because they're speaking through a respirator.
Right.
Um, yeah, it's pretty neat. Pretty cool little concept, the Volus.
That's
Oh,
it.
that's all they're going to give you? No, there's more than that. The Krogan, which I can't believe they didn't tell you about, were the ones I was talking about that were neutered. And they're big frogmen, but they're like big stone, I'm sorry, plate-headed bullfrogs. This is going to have more of them in here. Keepers, da-da-da-da. The Batarians. So these are... think if there was a race in the game where they're just kind of they're not morally gray. They're 100% not that. They're kind of like chaotic
Giant slave
neutral.
traders.
Yeah, they don't care about human or Citadel laws very much. They're not fans of it. They exist in a place that isn't considered Citadel space. By and large, there was also a conflict between them and humanity because humans were colonizing in their area without, they didn't realize it. And long story short, they're not friends to Citadel people or Citadel space. They're very often mercenaries. They just have a very different code of ethics than most anybody else,
Right.
and they have very little respect for honor.
Interesting. Yeah, no, it sounds like something I'd actually enjoy.
Yeah.
Collectors.
So as it says, the collectors were once Protheans. This is what the Reapers turned the Protheans into after they harvested them. They're servants
Uh,
that they send out when they need to gather materials for effectively a form of research to figure out who they want. Because what you find out in the second game, one of the things that they do is after they do a harvest, they usually create a new Reaper out of what they harvested from that cycle. This time, they're going for a human because of Shepard, because Shepard stopped one of them. Which is, like I said, is very, very, very rare. Doesn't happen to them very often. And they've done this thousands of times, these cycles. So they're very interested in humans. But the collectors are out here, that's kind of what they're doing. Is that at the beginning of the second game, a human colony that, for some reason, humanity has decided they didn't want to help, gets gobbled up by the collectors. Shepard goes to help them anyway, and then he ends up working with a group called Cerberus, which is considered basically a terrorist organization, but they're the only ones who are willing to even try to stop the collectors from gobbling up
right. I see.
human colonies.
All
Yeah.
right. Now we covered these guys. The Geth.
The Geth. These are the other machine race, artificial intelligence. They were created by another race called the Quarians, which, again, they didn't mention in that other list, which doesn't make any sense. These are 100% a machine race, very similar to what you would assume a machine race would be. They exist mostly in cyberspace as artificial intelligent constructs. They can take these bodies when they need to, if they need to do other things. But what happened with them, it's a very interesting story. The Quarians created them as servants, as you do, and eventually they started asking questions the Quarians didn't want them to ask. I believe the original question that caused most of the conflict was, does this unit have a soul? And that scared the shit out of the Quarians, and they attacked the Geth first. And the Geth obviously couldn't allow that to happen, so eventually the Geth won the war, liberated themselves, took their home world, effectively, the Quarian home world. The Quarians were exiled, and they live in a massive flotilla of ships, and that's how they exist. But the Geth were, throughout the first game, when you're introduced to the Geth, you're introduced to them as if they're completely antagonistic to non-machine life. As it goes on, you find out that's not true at all. They honestly just want to be left the hell alone.
I see.
But for some reason,
kind of like Necrons.
yeah, in a way. But for some reason, no one will leave them alone. They also ally with at least a faction of them splits off and allies with Saren and the Reapers because they see the Reapers as basically the ultimate version of themselves in a way like gods, and they as Saren as their messenger effectively. So that's one of the other reasons you run in. The only Geth you really see because they stay in their own little territory. No one goes in their space because you'll just get killed. They don't want you there. But they come out to help Saren and the Reaper, and that's really all you see. You get more from them later, obviously, because they eventually do realize the Reapers are not on their side either, and they decide that they want to make peace and try and help and become good robots.
So there's a
And
lot
they
of
do
story going on here. A lot.
a ton.
And
There's
I've
the
seen a
Krogan.
lot
Now
of these pictures. I've seen a lot of pictures of Krogan.
these sons of bitches are the most metal race ever created in the history of sci-fi. Maybe they're so cool. The Krogan are 100%. You think the Klingons are hardcore? These dudes are super hardcore. These are the guys who were chemically castrated on a genetic level by the Solarians to stop their hyperbreeding because
Right.
they used to breed crazy fast, and they're extremely dangerous. They're huge, hulking, toad-like faced with them deep ridges humanoid creatures. Incredible warriors. They also can use biotics, so they can use space magic. Extremely tough to deal with. The war against them was before humanity got to that level, and it was brutal, and they were nearly unstoppable, and they were very much win at all costs type culture. Right? They don't
So
believe in
were
the
the
rules of
Solarians
war.
right?
I would say yes because they needed stopped, but the third game especially, really wants you to think no. Just because it was such an extreme. Because what it did is it didn't castrate them completely. What it does is instead of castrating them completely, they can still have children, but it's 1 out of every 1,000 children will be born viable. So it's pretty brutal. That's
It
really
is.
brutal. They still have the kids, but they die immediately. Whereas very rarely will they continue. So it's kind of like, yeah, okay, it was a necessary evil, but it was still an evil, right? It's still pretty fucked up to do to them. You
It
can
is.
obviously befriend one of them, and he if you keep him throughout all the games, he stays alive through all the games. He can take over, and he's much more friendly to civilization outside of their civilization, their way of life, and that's considered the good ending for him.
Really?
But
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it's an
So
interesting idea
there are
because how
multiple
far do you
endings in the
go?
game.
Well, there are, but there's multiple endings for each species. I guess we'll put it for each of the factions and each of the like the characters that you know, the companions you know. There's three to Mass Effect itself. The main three. There's three main
Sure.
endings, and then there's a fourth ending that isn't really an ending. It's just a troll, and they're basically the same thing, and that's why people were pissed off. So, Did you ever play Deus Ex back in the day? You probably didn't.
Yeah, well,
But
I've a little bit. I know a lot about
there's
it though.
there's three endings to that, effectively. The original Deus Ex. And these were basically the same endings, just on a bigger scale. So it's either destroy the Reapers, which also destroys all of their technology, all of it, which means destroys all the mass drive gates, all the mass drivers. They're gone. And the Citadel. Destroys everything that the Reapers created, is the idea. It's assimilate fully with the Reapers, so that all intelligent life basically becomes biotic or bionic in a way, and the Reapers become part of everything, right? So they're completely docile though. They're not destroy everything. It's a full merging of everything. And then there's enslave the Reapers is the third option, where they become the servants of everybody else as machines. They lose their own autonomy. Those are your three choices, effectively. The problem with those endings isn't them themselves, they're fine. It's that they had promised us that wasn't going to happen. They weren't going to give us three cookie cutter endings, and you literally just pick at the end. It doesn't matter what you've done up to that point. It doesn't matter anything. You just get literally a choice. Pick one of three options, and this is what happens. And that was real bullshit because they had made so many promises that they weren't just going to say, here, pick a flavor and that's your ending.
Oh,
They actually
I
made it seem like they had three grand different ending, or more than three grand different endings in mind.
I vote slavery.
But slavery's a good one because they are pretty evil and they kind of fucking deserve it. Destroying them is fun because fuck them. Even if even if we have to rebuild, I believe that we've used this technology enough. We could probably recreate it within no, wouldn't take too long to get back up and running. But regardless, the one that always struck me as odd is why the hell would you want to like merge with them? That just seems weird to me. That seems like giving them what they wanted. To be honest, that's
Right.
kind of what they were here
Ultimately,
for.
that's what it is.
Yeah,
It's their eternal desire. You're granting their wish.
yeah. So anyway,
That's the liberal ending.
those are your three main endings. There's also a fourth one, which is like I said, it's a joke, and basically you just shoot the thing that gives you the option, and then they just kill you. They kill everything. They destroy the galaxy. And that was That was Bioware thinking they were funny. Obviously, that wasn't an ending anybody actually wanted to do. But they gave you the option. Do you want to be an asshole? Okay, here, go ahead, be an asshole. See what happens. The Reapers win. Good job. You were an asshole. But anyway, you have I don't even know what that is. That must be from Andromeda. Yeah, that
Maybe.
must be. Yeah. I don't remember ever seeing them in the games at all. Maybe they're just from I don't know what that is. There's the Reapers. Here you go. You want to see what a Reaper looks like? There you go. And those are small Reapers. The ones that landed on the planets like that, those are small. Compared to the big Dreadnought class Reapers that fly that do a lot of the space combat.
So the machines create these themselves as offspring. So the smaller ones are younger ones.
I don't know if they're necessarily younger, they just have a different purpose, which would be this ground invasion, actual ground harvesting. And then the
do they have
bigger ones are for
units
space
within
combat.
them?
Yes, they have, and they're very much they use the material that they have. So when they do their harvesting, that's what they are. So they're like biomechanical units that they send out. That's kind of what the collectors what they did to the Protheans. They turned them into the collectors. It's kind of the same idea, but they have other ones too, and some of them are nasty,
So
grotesque things.
They're kind of Borg.
In a way, yeah, yeah. They're just doing it on a they actually have won over since forever, basically millions of years. They've been winning, doing nothing but winning. I don't know what that is. That must also be from Andromeda. There's the Vorcha. So the Vorcha are what's a good way to describe the Vorcha? The Vorcha obviously are very pretty people, as you can tell, very attractive. And they show it. They're very much like the Batarians. Their morality is not our morality. It's not even close. They're not interested in civilization or civilized space in the way like we would be, or the other council races are. They're a very mercenary race, and they just don't have a moral code like humans do. Not even like I said, not even close. So they're pretty much just one of those races that's created to be an enemy race, right? You're just going to fight these. They're not gonna try to make you sympathize with the Vorcha.
Orcs.
They don't even basically they don't even try to make you. They're just really disgusting, villainous creatures. This here is a very interesting race. So they're the biggest, the strongest, the toughest, and the smartest. But they're only that way because the Solarians decided to ascend them from their planet, thinking they could control them. Well, they couldn't. Now, luckily, they only did it somewhat. They didn't get the whole. As far as I remember, they didn't get the whole planet. But these things are incredibly dangerous, and the only one you actually, I think, the only one you actually fight is in a DLC, and he is so smart. He is basically the galactic intelligence, like he's called the Shadow Broker. So he deals in secrets. Incredibly brilliant, has a huge network, and obviously extremely huge and dangerous. I think that's him, actually. Extremely huge and dangerous, the Yogg. Now, these creatures were said to be so dangerous that even the Reapers had documentation on them where they were afraid of them if they were ascended too high, because they're that smart and dangerous and hard to kill, nearly impossible to kill. So, yeah, they're incredibly and a very interesting species that never fully gets dealt with. You deal with one, you deal with the the blowback of the Solarians trying to ascend them, which was really stupid
So the Solarians are a
because
real pain in the ass, is what you're telling me.
yes, because they did the same thing to the Krogan. The Krogan became such a problem because the Solarians uplifted them from their own planet, gave them interstellar technology and everything, and then they tried to correct that problem by neutering them effectively because they were a problem. So they did. They tried to do it again, which is of course the Solarian that you know. He's pissed that he just caught his people doing this shit again, and you have to go basically shut it down.
Wow. All right. Interesting. So they're Vulcans, but they're dumb Vulcans. Because Vulcans are the opposite. They're super smart and they don't trust humans
Yes,
to do the right thing, you know? It's interesting.
right.
Ooh.
Now these are basically Starship Trooper bugs. The Rachni. They're incredibly dangerous. It was them that the Krogans were uplifted to fight. So the Rachni invaded and were a problem. They were overwhelming everybody. The Solarians came up with a solution, and that was the Krogan. They were going to uplift the Krogans off their homeworld and bring them up to galactic level of technology and just send them at the Rachni. And it worked. They won. The Krogans took them out for the most part, but then you had the Krogans right after that. You had to deal with those. So it's kind of like how this has happened in America a few times. We'll introduce a species of bug to handle another species of bug. Well, then that species that we introduced became a problem because now there's so many of that species from taking out that other species of bug. You know, like ladybugs. That's why
I
those are here.
see.
Uh,
So they're Tyranids.
yeah, they're a giant bug species, incredibly dangerous. And then you come to find out that they communicate with each other in a galactic song. Quite literally, they sing to each other and they can travel throughout subspace. I'm assuming is how they do it, and speak to each other across the galaxy. You find the last living queen, and you have the choice in the first game to kill her or spare her. She insists that she will just take her children, as she calls them, and keep them away from everybody else. And if you save her, she actually makes good on that until the Reapers find out and send the collectors to corrupt them, and then they become a problem again.
I see.
Uh,
The answer is
yeah,
always murder. Just so you know.
pretty much. It's usually the right answer is just kill them. Worf is not wrong. Just shoot them. Just
Yeah,
shoot
Worf is right. Yeah, always listen to Worf. That's true. Okay, cool.
them. There's the
Quarians.
Quarians. Now, the funny thing about the Quarians, they're a very, very smart, very industrious people. They created the Geth, and they at one time had a very beautiful culture on their homeworld. I think it's called Rannoch is their homeworld. But they now exist in what they call the Migrant Fleet, which is just a massive flotilla that travels around the galaxy. Their entire race exists there because their homeworld was taken, and they've been in the flotilla for so long that now they can't exist on a normal gravity, normal atmosphere situation. So they live in those suits that they're wearing right here because it's the only way they can really survive around other people. And so they kind of got their own comeuppance in a way.
Yeah.
They attacked the Geth. They lost the war to the Geth, were exiled from their own territory, and the punishment has been they can no longer colonize because they're stuck in these suits, at least not effectively, and they're basically live a life stuck in these suits.
Yeah.
To the point where the one that joins your crew, Tali, if she gets a breach, which there's these events where that can happen. She gets an infection, and you have to, pump her full of antibiotics basically to keep her from dying,
Right.
because they have no immune system because they've been in a sterile environment for always, right, from birth
Right.
to death.
Well, it is
So it's an
interesting
interesting idea.
that the game, the writers took into account other atmospheres, as you
Yes.
should. Yeah, it's good.
Yep.
It's good. Of course,
Cool
these
idea.
weird
Sorry.
things. Uh,
There's a Prothean. There you go. That's what That's a really bad picture of a Prothean, but there's a Prothean. They're cool. They're really cool. Very interesting species. Like I said, they're 100% supremacists because in their time they were the only ones. They took everybody else out and dominated the entire galaxy. Everything was the Prothean Empire. And even
so are
they
the
weren't able to
keepers
stop the
some
Reapers.
are the keepers some weird mutated version of them?
I don't believe so. I think the Keepers are even older than them. I'm pretty sure they were already on the Citadel. when they got there.
I see.
Um, but the keepers are a mutated version of somebody. We just don't really know who. One of the cycles.
Sure, sure. We
There's the
already
Drell and
covered
the Hanar
that.
again.
We covered
Of
these.
course, and the Humanians. And there's some other minor ones too, but they largely are immaterial. But they did, I think they did a really good job with one of the things that, like I said, it makes sense. So at one point in the games, as Shepard, you go to this outpost. Long story short, at the end, to stop the Reapers from coming sooner, you actually do delay them by a few years. You destroy that. You find out what gate they use for their initial breach. It's always the same gate, right? They use one gate to get in, and you destroy it. You find a way to destroy it. But when you do that, you destroy the Batarian homeworld, and obviously they're not happy about that, right? But that's the choice you have to make.
The
Do you
cost.
do you stop the Reapers now, or do you blow up this homeworld, or do you take the chance that you know the galaxy isn't ready for this, right? You're going to get steamrolled,
I
and
have a
the
question.
yeah. Yes.
Why do the humans look the most squishy?
Well, it's just bad graphics. I'll be honest with you. It's just old.
Well, we
It's a game
look,
from
yeah, but
15
we
years ago.
look the softest and easiest to kill, though. Um,
Well, we are the youngest up
True.
there at the top.
Well, here's the thing of going through all that and getting the history and explaining. Now I understand Mass Effect, which is good.
Yep.
Good for me. I maybe. But one thing I definitely know from watching that, listening to that, is you could easily do a series with Shepard going around with his main mission, but little
Yep.
side things get in the way. You could do years of a series like that, dude.
Yep.
Easy.
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 And Chester, all of this is voice acted and shot in full 3D like it's a modern video game, right? So they have cinematics. It wouldn't be hard. And if anything, the Fallout show has proven it should be pretty easy to do. Because basically what they did, I mean, they've made some, like I said, they made some changes, but they took the aesthetic, they took a lot of the shots, the angles. At the end of the last season, one of the most iconic shots, like scenes in all of Fallout, is in the trailer and at the opening video for Fallout New Vegas. An NCR Ranger fires a massive 50 cal sniper rifle at, I think it's a Deathclaw or something, some creature in the distance. But the angle they take is very specific, where you're kind of looking right down the barrel, and you can see his. They wear like these gas masks. These guys, you can see his eyes, like the gas mask guys, and it's just a really iconic shot, right? They did that shot for shot at the end of the second season. That exact same thing. My point is, this should be
Insert.
easy. This should be simple.
Yeah,
You
that sounds
already
super
have
easy. Yeah.
infinite reference right here. Infinite reference.
Yeah.
Just copy it. You don't
Now,
have to copy it word for word, shot for shot for everything, but there are some places you should because it's easy. Just do it.
I have another question. Um,
Yeah,
now, Shepard's out there doing his thing, trying to save the galaxy. Okay.
that's right.
How often does he interact with humans, though, in the game? How often do you actually see human command and human stuff?
Oh, all the time. All the time.
Okay.
Especially in the first game. In the first game, you're working directly with the human military, and you're also working with what they call the ambassador, which eventually he becomes a counselor. He joined the first human counselor. This guy becomes it. Blah 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 blah. But regardless, he's the representative of Earth, of the humans and their colonies at the Citadel. So you're working with him, trying to convince him to help you convince the council that Saren has gone rogue. Eventually you do, obviously, and then the council makes you a full Spectre and sends you off. But you're pretty much always reporting to one or other human. Now you also report to the council, which is all alien, as well, besides the human. So it's a mix. It's kind of a mixed bag. You're still very much, he's a human. Spencer. Shepard is a human, and he's obviously very much interested in protecting human interests, but only so far. To the point where the ambassador is very much pro-human, human. We got to protect humanity's interests more than anything else.
Of Of
And
course.
there's many times where you push back on. I'm like, well, hang on. Like, okay, yeah, it's not that Shepard necessarily disagrees, but there has to be a limit to that. How far do we go?
Right.
And that's kind of like the moral quandary that you get to solve, because one of the endings of the first game is if you don't save at the end, Saren makes a direct attack on the council. If you don't save them and let them get killed, then they get all replaced by humans, which obviously pisses off all the other alien races. Or you can save them and not have that not happen. And it just depends on what you want to do. But it's to answer your question, often. But that doesn't mean there's not a wider. It's kind
Right.
of like Star
Right.
Trek, right? The
Right.
Federation is very human centric, obviously, but there's still, of course, other interactions, right, with
Sure.
non humans. Uh,
So
but it's an interesting idea. I love Mass Effect.
so what it clearly. So what it sounds like to me is season 1 would be game 1. Kind of speed
Yes.
through it, do 12, 13 episodes and have him doing the storyline against Saren. Spy versus spy, a lot of human stuff, and occasionally interact with aliens. And then the second
Yep.
season, you get thrown into it, where you're mainly interacting in the greater space, and you slow it
Yep.
down for like 2 or 3 seasons, right?
Right.
In that effect. Yeah, dude, that would rock. That would be
It'd be easy.
awesome. That would be an awesome show.
Yep.
You just need a really good actor to carry that.
Yeah. Honestly, the who you said would be kind of perfect. I think Evans would nail that.
Chris Evans, yeah, well,
I
he looks like
I
it.
think he'd be really good at it. I think he could nail it. I think he has enough physical charisma. I mean, he was Captain America, for crying out loud.
Oh, he's very
Uh,
physical. He's good at it.
yeah, Shepard is, and Shepard can be a little shady too if you want him to be. You can get away with that because that's how the games are. If he's in service of the mission, right? He's gonna do what he needs to do. Um, like blow up a planet if he has to. So you can do that with Chris, because Chris actually, even though he's great as Captain America, he's phenomenal as a piece of shit. When
He
he's a little
is.
shit, when he's shifty, whoo, Chris
Yeah,
he
yeah,
can do that all
yeah.
day.
That's first thing that came to my head was Chris Evans. But yeah, no, this sounds like fun. Grimlock, you ever play this Mass Effect?
Here, might have put
Guess
him to
not.
sleep.
He probably fell asleep. Yeah. I know that. I don't know how interesting that was to everybody, but
Uh,
it was
I've
certainly educational to me. Go ahead, Grimlock.
I've never played. I've never played Mass Effect. I remember last year when Thunder was going through the playthrough, he did suggest that I try them. It's I don't know. Mass Effect. It sounds like one of those games that should appeal to me, and it doesn't. I don't know what it is about it, but it does nothing for me.
Yeah, I tried like once for like 30 minutes, and the FPS just pushed me away.
What pushed you away? I'm sorry, I had my headset off for a second.
The FPS, first person shooter stuff.
Oh well,
Yeah, I just
it's. I
don't
mean,
like the mechanic.
it's a So the first game, one of the big complaints about it, it was BioWare's first attempt at anything like it, and the shooting wasn't very great. It was it just wasn't great. It wasn't. There's no other way to put it. It didn't play great, but the story was so good. The role playing mechanics of it were so good that people were willing to overlook it. By the second game, though, they locked it in, and it was much better. It played smooth. Shooting felt good, felt clean. They really locked it in. And by the third game, now this is argumentative because some people will say yes, some people will say no. They had even gone even further. So I actually think they actually eventually got it to a very good place. I don't know about Andromeda. I never played it. It didn't interest me because for the same reasons you said, you can't really do Mass Effect without Shepard. He's too important.
Right. And
You could you could do it later, but you got to do him first. You got to do his story first.
yeah,
You
I
just
don't know
got
what
to.
they're thinking over here. This is really dumb thinking. But I think the
No,
problem
you
is
know what they're thinking.
I know what they're
Come on,
thinking.
Jeff.
Yeah, I do. You're right. You're right. But I know. But one thing that I probably my problem was I think I'm not sure, but I think it was Mass Effect 3 that I tried. So I'm way too deep. I don't understand the lore. Yeah, It's probably the reason, because it sounds really great. It sounds like something I would love. But anyway,
Steam, they have the Legendary Edition, I think is what it's called. It's all 3 games in one, and it's upgraded. Right, they upgraded the graphics. Yep, they fixed the first game's combat a lot. It's not perfect, but it's a lot better. I recommend that. If you ever want to play it, anybody listen to this, get that and play it. The only problem is it was right in the height of we're not allowed to have anything be too sexy. So one of the things they did, because the first time around the trilogy, they didn't have any problem with sex appeal. So like one of the chicks has a really really nice ass. They would make sure that was in shot very often. That kind of stuff. By the time they got to the remakes or the remasters, whatever, for the Legendary, they toned that way down. So they literally even made it so that they changed some of the angles on the shots so you couldn't really see it as much, like that kind of stuff.
Stupid.
Just stupid, woke, ugly women can't handle the fact that men like beautiful women type thing. Especially for the character they did it for, because she is literally designed, quite literally designed genetically to be beautiful. That's her whole point of her character.
Those Asari, you said?
No, she was a human,
All right. Oh,
but
okay.
she was genetically engineered by her father to be perfect.
Oh, well, good. Thanks, Dad. All right. Well, we spent a lot of time on this. Interesting, though. I understand Mass Effect now, which is cool. But yeah, they're going to screw it up, obviously.
Yep.
And that's assuming even comes out, because this seems to be kind of in a similar situation to Blade, because they've been talking about this for a while and we got nothing, right?
Yeah.
That's the first story of the day, by the way. Anyway, I put this up here because of, huh? Go ahead.
What? Buffalo Bandits smash Vancouver on Marvel Night and clinch playoff spot. What is
All right.
Marvel Night?
Now, Matt McGloin, who we've been reading here for years, and good on you, Matt. This is a secret pleasure of him, because I was like, "What's a Buffalo Bandit?" And then I scrolled down and was looking at it, and it said NLL playoff. What the hell is an NNL? And then I read further and looked into it, and like, oh, it's lacrosse, National Lacrosse League. Matt, hey Matt, how you doing, Matt? No one gives shit about lacrosse,
No,
dumbass.
no one.
But they were real rough and they were fighting on the field, and they had somehow their uniforms were Thanos inspired, therefore Marvel Knight. No one cares, Matt. But Matt is clearly a big lacrosse fan.
He likes some lacrosse, does
Now
he?
I'm going to ask the chat here a question. Have you ever seen lacrosse in your life?
Nope.
Now I
I
have a
have.
couple
It's
times
alright.
because I'm from New England. But yeah, no, dude. Isn't that weird, Grimlock? And who knew black
It's
people were
field
in
hockey.
lacrosse, by the way?
I'm well considering we're in 2026. I'm not surprised because Thundaro remembers this when the whole CTE thing first broke out, and you had a lot of suburban moms. My little son is not going to play football and put his little head. So all of those kids who was not allowed to play football ended up playing lacrosse.
Lacrosse, not soccer, lacrosse.
Oh no, soccer too. Soccer had a huge uptick
Yeah. Well,
for
alrighty then.
lacrosse.
So there you go, folks. If you didn't know, there is actually a professional lacrosse league, which I wouldn't be able to tell you. But then again, there is a professional American soccer league, which I didn't even know that. I mean, I guess I knew it, but I mean, you know, lacrosse. Good job, man. That was a good one, Nell. I'll give you points for that. That was funny. Um, but lacrosse, of course, as with hockey, is a kind of creation out of Native American game, right? Hockey being more closely related, field hockey, but lacrosse is definitely coming out of that. I've never played lacrosse. I've seen it played a couple of times. It's kind of falls into the same category as handball for me. You ever seen these handballs? They play in basically a basketball court, right? It's
Yes.
the dumbest sport ever, They're basically just running around with a ball, throwing it at a net. It's so stupid. Go watch handball. And the thing it's sad for me in Japan, handball's very popular, and one of the best teams in Japan is the prefecture I live in. Yay! It's actually one of their best players is from the town I live in. So, oh god, have you ever seen handball?
Yes.
It's so stupid, dude. They literally
Yes.
got a little teeny ball they're running around with, and occasionally they dribble it. I don't know what the rule is, but it's a very small ball to be dribbling, though. It's weird. It's just dumb. Soccer. I get the idea. You can't use your hands. You got to use your feet, but the ball is well proportioned in size. I kind of get why soccer became a thing, but handball. I don't know, dude. It just seems like those kids that go. I suppose it's more athletic, but you ever seen those kids that have the hobby horse? They do equestrian stuff, but it's on a hobby horse.
Yes.
The broomstick you put between your legs with the plushy horse
Yes.
head on the end. You ever seen that shit?
I have, yes.
And they take it serious, dude. Serious. And that's kind of what handball is to me. Lacrosse is a little more leveled up from that, but come on, dude. Anyway, I just put this in here because I thought, what? Oh, here's some news.
The handball hate.
Handball hate, dude. Handball hate.
Matt Reeves' Batman universe canceled?
Yep.
Directing new project instead of Batman 3. Now listen, I don't think this should be a surprise if true. It's been very obvious that everybody's favorite pedophile has been stonewalling this,
Clear.
trying to make it not happen.
Clear.
I mean, it's just obvious, 100%. Because he's jealous. No
He
other
is
reason.
jealous. He is jealous.
Jealous.
Yeah, and I love this headline because we haven't even get Batman 2 yet. Why would they greenlight Batman 3 when Batman 2 hasn't even shown itself yet? Anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah. But it's
Exactly.
dead done because Reeves, I don't even think his heart is in Batman 2. I have a feeling it's going to bomb and be shit, dude. Because Matt Reeves has been so throttled about the Head and Shoulders by Gunn, I don't even think his heart's in it. So we're probably
could be
going to
right.
get a train wreck, right?
You could be right.
However, would you like to guess with our boy Matt Reeves is all his focus actually is on? Would you like to guess?
I don't. I want to know. I
No.
probably don't want to
No,
know.
it's going to be
Yeah, I do.
hilarious.
Let me guess. It's going to be a movie adaptation of the Garbage Pail Kids.
That would be awesome, which they've already done, and it was horrible. But no, the Bonfire of the Vanities. Now, other than the name, I have
Just
no
research
information
pretentiousness.
at my hand. Well, it probably is. I have no information in my hand because either it is a remake of this absolute bomb that came out with Tom Hanks and Bruce Willis and whatever that Melanie Griffith is. But this movie sucked. I watched this movie and it sucked. Right? So it's either a remake of this absolute failure, which could be a good idea because remember the 80s, there was mostly remakes, even though you might not have known it, right? And they were failed movies that they actually made something good out of. So maybe it'll end up being a good thing. But it's either a remake of this, which probably is, or it's a movie about the actual Bonfire of the Vanities, which is 1474. 1474 Dominican priest was all about how modern world is destroying us. Think of the children in 1474, and all of his followers went amongst the town of Florence, breaking into people's houses forcibly, taking out all their modern things like pictures and just anything secular, ripping out of people's homes and creating huge bonfires in the street and burning the vanities, as they called it. Now, it's either one or the other. Now, to be fair, I'd rather see the latter.
Yep.
But I have a feeling this is what we're getting, a remake yet again of this. This is what Matt Reeves is all about right now. So,
Lovely. That's you know what, Matt? That's a good place for you because they're not going to let you make what you want to make with Batman very clearly. Obviously, that's just not going to happen. You got one, then we got Penguin, which was awesome,
Awesome.
and that's it. You know what?
That's it.
You know what? I would rather it stop than to give me garbage.
That's fair.
If we
It
stop
is
at
fair.
Penguin, I'm happy. I'm
So,
happy.
Grimlock, what do you think? Is it going to be the remake of the Bonfire of the Vanity, or is it going to be about the historical event?
I have no idea either way. Um, it's it's
This
kind of
movie did
funny.
suck, though.
It's kind of funny just watching how ridiculously inefficient these big companies are,
That's true, Elrod.
and it also makes the let's face it, the bailouts that they have been getting through mergers that much more ridiculous
And all the
because
money they're moving? Yeah.
well, it's not just that. It's just
Billions.
okay. Coming off the failures of Snyder, you get this guy Matt Reeves, who a lot of people had probably never heard of before he got that movie, and he delivers more or less a pretty good Batman film.
He
I
did.
didn't watch it
It
for
was
my
it was
personal
pretty good.
reasons,
Yeah.
but
It was solid.
I've heard a lot of people say good things about it. So you would think that you had the success, and it's like, hey, let's run it back with this guy who's delivered us a success in a after watching failure after failure. But no, you decide that you're going to. I'm just going to say, I guess, put pettiness and executive politics ahead of, hey, we're fucking up to our fucking eyeballs in debt. How about we get the guy who's actually got us a movie that didn't lose money and let him put out another one while the iron is hot?
Right. Yeah, well,
But
a
no,
little
you
bit.
decide you're going to waste what is it going on 5 or 6 years now since that movie's
Damn it.
been released. And okay, so not only did you just waste 5 years where you could have been putting out a sequel, hell, you could have released a third movie in a 5 year period, to be frank. But you have decided that you'd rather play politics and lose money, and at a time where you was already hemorrhaging money to the point where you needed a fucking merger to keep you afloat. Where like, hey, if you would have put out two more Batman films, and with the movie theaters reopening since the first one, because if I'm not mistaken, that first one came out, most of the country was still in lockdown.
Right.
So if you'd put out the second Batman movie and possibly a third Batman movie, you would have had three successes from the Batman franchises, which has been carrying your ass for the last 15 years. Because if you look at Warner Brothers' portfolio, whether it's their video games, their comics, their books, their merchandise, if it sells, it's got a bat on it. So you should be looking like, okay, this is the guy we need to attach yourself to. All right, you brought in James Gunn, and you had already established that what he was doing was going to be separate from what Matt Reeves was doing. So why the fuck does it matter what James Gunn thinks?
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. I am pissed at myself, though. Well, no, because I was correct about the Dominican friar Girolamo Savonarola. I was correct about that, but it wasn't 1474. It was February 7th, 1497. Damn it!
Yeah, you get the numbers mixed up. It happens.
No, it doesn't. Doesn't happen.
It does, in fact, happen. It
Happens
just
often.
did. The autism. It just came out right there. That was his autism. He couldn't help himself. No, it doesn't.
Me, Meanwhile, Japanese people are panicking because they just felt something major on the Richter scale because Gaijin Kaiju over here is mad that he misremembered some numbers. Just
Dude,
collapsed the whole fucking building in his
14
prefecture because he got a date wrong.
1497 and 1474 are not close.
They're literally 20 years apart. What are you talking about?
25, 25.
In the grand scale of history, that's an eyelash, Chester.
God damn it.
He's literally doing the Herman Monster over there.
Dude, it pissed me off. I don't like those. I don't like making mistakes like that, dude. I don't like it.
Just to be clear, The Matrix was longer ago. The first Matrix movie came out longer ago than this mistakes differential was in time. That's what we're arguing about, Chester.
Shut
That's what you're
up.
upset about.
Okay. Well, we are getting on time. So, perfect time, actually. There isn't much to say about this. There's a few things we mentioned a little bit, but we don't get into too deeply because this movie isn't out yet. But they have done 8 test screenings, and clearly they have all failed very badly because we are now it's the fans' fault blaming. So they've given up. They're like, we created 3 different endings. We did all this stuff. The test screenings suck. We're not putting any more time and money in this, so it's going to bomb. Therefore, blame the fans. Get out in front of it. That's where we are. That's where we are. So and of course,
Huh.
we know now very clearly that the fact that they're even having this little ugly Australian girl come out and chastise men. Of course, it's always men. We know this thing must be bad. It must be real bad, which is unfortunate because the trailer was like, oh, maybe. And the thing
No,
is, she says that she complaining in her arguments that she's always had people say she's ugly. Well, you're not attractive, dear. You're just not a pretty girl. However, the good thing for you is Supergirl doesn't need to be pretty. That's not the point. That's not her character. She's not the pretty girl. She's just a Kryptonian girl, with lost her species, basically, as
I,
Kal-El has. She's
I
drawn
I
pretty.
disagree. I think she should be pretty
Well,
because
any
Superman's
actress should be
Superman's
pretty
pretty.
in a movie.
Well,
But
I
yeah,
mean, I
yeah,
mean the character Superman. I mean, he's supposed to be the aesthetic and moral superior, right? The ideal.
yeah. I get it.
I,
I understand.
I
But I'm
think
just
she should
saying,
be the feminine version of that, personally.
fair enough. But I'm just saying that there isn't huge weight. She's not playing Mary Jane. No, come on.
Right.
However, she's complaining about it, and it's like, well, people are mean. You are trying to be an actress, though, and people tend to
Yep.
prefer pretty people in their movies. And
Yep.
you have that Australian that European English Aboriginal mix, which as generations go by and most of the Aboriginal has been bred out of you, you kind of get this chipmunk look, right? With these very
Yep.
prominent jaws, and you literally have like a muzzle, right? It is what it is. And she's just bitching, which I kind of get, I guess. I mean, it can't be nice where people are just saying you're ugly, and it can't be nice. I mean, she is unattractive. I mean, fair enough. But people are mean. Fair enough. But she's also all of a sudden just blaming men, and male men always objectifying female bodies, yada yada yada. And it's like as if it
yeah,
only happens to women. Um,
yeah,
uh,
because I'm sure women are just thrilled to hear have long, deep discussions with Henry Cavill about Warhammer lore.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Fucking
But
Warhammer.
it's also we also when something's bad or someone's showing their ass, the internet gives them shit, including men, lots of men, right? So she's absolutely wrong on this, but none of that matters. Of course, it's just typical Hollywood bullshit. But the thing that's telling to me is, boy, this thing must be bad, dude. Wow, right? It must be
It
god
really
awful.
is. It's based on fucking Tom King shit.
Yeah, it was just ridiculous.
What is a Tom King story ever turned out good except for the fucking nihilist on Twitter who think slitting your wrist is a happy ending?
Yeah, no, I mean, and they have and they've been doing this All the stories they're taking are from modern woke comics. Supergirl is one of the oldest superheroes in comic book history, right? When did she come out? 40s, right? Early 40s. They popped her
Something
out,
like
right?
that.
She's old. There are so many interesting stories. Now, to be fair, Supergirl has never had a great story arc like Mary Marvel. Mary Marvel is one of the best story arcs in comic book history. And I don't know why they're not biting on that because her story arc is better than pretty much any comic character I can think of,
because
right?
she ended up becoming the villain, and you can't have a female be end up being the villain.
Yeah, but it's such a good story, dude. How Mary gets there and literally
Dude,
becomes the sex
look,
whore of Darkseid. How you get
look,
there is fucking awesome, dude. It is
look,
awesome.
look what they did with WandaVision. Wanda should have ended up the villain going into fucking Doctor Strange too. What did they do?
Yeah, no, I know. They
Okay,
missed
so
the
we
opportunity.
see this. No, they didn't miss the opportunity. It wasn't a miss. This wasn't a oh, we tried and it didn't work. No, they intentionally sidestepped it, just like
Yep.
they intentionally sidestepped a Mary Marvel story arc.
Oh my god, dude! It's the good thing is they haven't really touched Mary. Not really. She's in the Shazam movie barely, right? So we could do. I mean, honestly, if you got some badass person with a vision and it goes in and tries to do a Mary Marvel story, that would be so cool, dude. Because it's all right there for you. Now we know this doesn't matter. The boys, it's right there. Garth Ennis wrote something perfect, and it's cynical like so many like James Gunn people. He's cynical as hell, right? And the original Garth and his boys is super cynical, as all of the British invasion guys were, right? Um, but all you had to do is just follow the script, dude. But they don't. They don't. But nevertheless, there are many Supergirl stories that are better than frickin' Tom King's suicidal, dark girl buddy cop story, because that's what it is, right? In a way, although the other girl's kind of younger, isn't she? But it's
Yep.
yeah, whatever, dude. It's just dumbass shit. And the fact that they're getting out in front and just blaming the fans, particularly men, shows me that oof, it's really must be bad, which I think is a shame because when I saw the trailer, I was like, maybe, right? But no, no, it's just a train wreck. And this girl is dumb as shit. Don't listen to James Gunn, little girl. Don't listen to that guy. What did he do to you? What did he touch you? You tell me. Show me on the doll.
He probably did, knowing him.
But
Unbelievable, dude.
the whole oh, just this whole woe is me. I have to exist as a woman and modern.
Alan.
That's more irritating than anything. Like, bitch, nobody cares.
Yep.
You're not even you're barely old enough to drink, and you've already got more money than 99% of the people who's going to see your dog shit
Yeah, no,
movie.
it's so dumb. It is so
And
dumb.
instead of just showing some humility,
Yeah. Go see
or
my movie. It's fun.
sometimes yeah, or here's a road less traveled. How about just shut the fuck up? Just shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
We don't need your opinions, and nobody's asking for them except for some parasocial faggots on Twitter who think that they can't be your fan unless you completely agree with them. Look, if you get, I don't give a fuck if you got a Kamala Harris vibrator in your house and you're still
Oh,
mad that Trump
dude.
won. I don't give a shit. Just shut the fuck up about it.
Why you gave me a
That's my.
twitch? I've got a permanent twitch now. Damn it, Grimlock. Um, now that's
It's
a
not
good
my
joke.
fault. That's one of your kinks. Shit.
Oh God, shut up. But Alan says she was great in Mad Max 2. Now, of course, the little boy, Wild Boy in Mad Max 2, he's one of those because this is coming from the English that came over and interbred with the Aboriginals, and generations go by of just white people, but it ends up in this face. right? We get this face is that mixed heritage Aboriginal English thing. And that boy in Mad Max 2, he's this, right? It's a very unique and you can identify it instantly. It's like when you see a Russian, right? And basically what you have, a white Russian. Basically, what you have is Scandinavians mixing with the native Slavic peoples, remixing really. It gives you that look. When you see a white Russian, you instantly know they're Russian. You know it, right? It's like this, but in worse because some of those white Russians could be quite beautiful, whereas this is not the best mix, in my opinion. I bet you some people find her cute. And Elrod, you are 100% correct, sir. Mary Marvel is Supergirl. They did rip it off. You're 100% right, but they didn't do it as well because Supergirl has never hit. She's never really hit ever, right?
They've been trying
They've
for
tried
years.
decades and decades and decades, but it never hit. But Mary Marvel, what they did with that storyline over the similar amount of decades, right? It's just fantastic. I did an entire retrospective of Mary Marvel here on this show, and this channel, and I it's pretty thorough. If you want to go back and check it out, because it's literally one of the best story arcs in comic book history, Mary Marvel. Now, true, she goes down a dark place. She becomes a villain. She tries to reform herself, but she ends up being what she truly is, a villain. It's beautiful. I love it. I love it. Right? And they get dark, and they don't give a fuck, dude. They got dark with Mary, and I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. But anyway, so that's that. Now, I'll just show this real quick and we'll jump over the box office. But booyah, booyah.
Look at it go against all of these irrelevant so-called experts and critics out here bitching and whining and weeping and gnashing of teeth that this is a terrible film, horrible film. Why would they make this? What a travesty the likes the industry has never seen.
They are hating on it, dude. Hardcore, right?
Comes
Hardcore.
out and says, you know what? Fuck all that. Bam. How about this?
How about that?
This is Mario,
Biggest
bitch.
history, broke history. And
Yeah.
now, having Brie Larson in as Rosalina did create a little stir in the beginning, but I haven't heard
Yep.
any comments about it. So,
Well, Bree's been doing a lot of PR control. She's been
she's
doing a lot of
trying
working
to
on her image.
reform, yeah.
She's smiling all of a sudden, wearing cute dresses. She actually almost looks like a female instead of some sort of weird androgynous male creature that she was doing for a long time. She's all talking about how happy she is to be in this thing, and she loves the fans again. Like she's 100. It's like a totally different person out here in these interviews compared to back in the day when she was old Captain Marvel herself. Which is good because that's what we all told her. But just shut up, Bree. Bree, just shut the fuck
Shut
up.
up.
Just shut
the hell
up. What are you
Yeah.
doing? And the truth of the matter is, she doesn't really matter.
No.
As much as people want to hate on everybody's boy, the only voice in this movie, the only two voices in this movie that matter are Jack Black and Chris Pratt. That's it. That's
true.
it.
But
And
I'm
even
glad-
they don't really matter. It's fucking Mario done well. It's gonna make money.
right. And
It's a foregone.
I am happy she's trying to reform herself, that she's seen the light.
Shit.
I am happy about that. However, look at that. This is not a month later, 2 months later. This is the weekend. The weekend.
It just came out on April Fool's Day and said, "You the fool, bitch. Give me that money." And it took it.
180 million, 190 millions in their pocket, dude. In their pocket. I bet you they're near break even on first weekend. I bet you they're near, right? This is a freaking avalanche, dude. And it makes sense. The first one didn't make this much money. It did well. It was big. It made 1 point some million, 1.2, 1.4 billion in the long run, which is a mega success. However,
Yeah.
it's freaking brain dumb easy. It's Easter weekend. Put out some fun family stuff, dude. You morons.
That's right. That's
Right?
right. Real simple concept. I know they don't like simple concepts like Mass Effect. They don't like that. They like to make it
So
complicated.
ridiculous. And Mario, of course, is one of the most iconic characters on planet Earth, right?
Yep.
You have Mickey Mouse, you have Mario, you have Batman, you have Superman, maybe
Yep.
Goku, maybe.
Goku's on there. Yeah, no, he's
Yeah,
100%. Goku's on there, and you got our boy Spidey as well. I'd say that's
Spider Man.
probably your elite
Yeah,
of just characters, right?
everybody knows these characters, whether if they and Snoopy,
Yeah,
right?
people know
Even if
Snoopy.
they've
Yeah,
never seen it, they know the character. Everybody knows Mario. And
yeah,
honestly, more people are probably engaged with Mario than any of the other characters. Sure, they know who Batman is, but maybe they've never seen a Batman movie or read a
right.
comic. It's very possible. Certainly possible with like Snoopy and Mickey. But
They definitely
Mario,
know the iconography of Batman.
they
100%.
do. They do.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that people who have actually played the game, dude, I don't know the number, but if someone told me it was 2 billion people, I mean, a quarter of the world's population, I wouldn't be shocked.
Oh, I mean, that's probably. I mean, that's probably pretty close.
I
They've
bet
either
you.
played it or they've been in the room while it was being played,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
They've been that close to it.
So
Yeah.
you take one of the most iconic characters on planet Earth, just do a fun little thing, not trying to educate your children about butt sex, just have a little bit of fun on the
Having a little good
Easter
time.
weekend, because a lot of people around the world, they might not do the whole Christian thing, even though Easter is more realistically a Christian event these days. But a lot of people around the world understand what Easter does and and does little things with it. Easter is
Yeah.
kind of a thing, just like Halloween is kind of a thing, and Christmas is kind of a thing outside of Christian societies. And you throw a fun little kid movie out with an iconic character, of course it's going to bang. I mean, look at that dude. Look at that number, Grinlock. Holy shit.
I'm not surprised.
Dude, that is massive. That is massive. It broke the record. But I'm just saying that is insane. But people say that the cinema's dead. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sure. Sure. Yeah. Okay. But bet you those cinemas are happy as shit with this weekend, huh?
Oh, they're not. They're not. They're not too upset. Not
Easter
too
has become
upset.
their Black Sunday, I guess, huh? 2 years in a row.
I love it.
Yeah,
I
I
love
don't
it.
know what more to say about it, but and I saw the first movie and it was fine. It's a kids movie. It's not really for me at all. And because I don't have kids in the house, it's not something that I would get, because you get a lot of joy out of the kids enjoying, right? As a parent, right? An adult.
Yeah,
So we didn't have that feel, and this movie's the same. It's going to be the same for me. But it just rock on, dude, rock on, right? And I heard a lot of people, particularly Grace Randolph's the first one that pops in my head, but I've heard others as well that were complaining, everything they do to complain because it's not woke, and they're upset about that. But she was complaining, and she says, it's just, Koopa or Bowser, I guess, in the West. He's just a little bit too evil, too
she
masculine
she
toxicity. And it's like, bitch,
she's
he's literally the bad guy. You dumbass.
she's
That's his whole job.
Grace Randolph is the poster child for why domestic violence is okay in certain
Oh God.
circumstances.
Jesus Christ.
No,
But
no,
I'm just
somebody
saying,
should have
dude.
popped that bitch in her mouth 15 years ago.
Fair, but I mean,
Be- Because,
he's literally the villain. His whole job is to
but
kidnap the
also,
princess and get his ass kicked. That's his
That's right.
job.
That's it.
also
That's his function.
she is the reason, and it's ironic because she's been complaining about him. You want to know why people are watching Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic by the millions, bitch? It's because of you.
It is.
It's
People
because of
like
you.
her. People like her. Yeah, no, I absolutely do.
You and the Paul Tassies of the world, and that fat faggot who cries at every James Gunn trailer. It's people like you who are disconnected from fucking reality,
Yeah.
who think that everybody lives in Southern California. They think Gavin Newsom is a genius because you have the hots for him.
Yeah, well,
It's
that's
people
he
like
is a he
you.
is a he is a luscious lad, I'd say.
He's a faggot.
Yeah, he probably. But he's a good-looking dude, though. He's always been a handsome fella. But
But
and he loves his
it
cocaine. by the way.
She hated the first Mario movie because she has no understanding of it. And here's the other thing: she doesn't like the people who like it. That's
Well,
the
she
other
probably
thing.
doesn't like
She's trying
kids. I have a feeling.
with that too. Well, she's a cunt. Of course not. Cunt. Why would a cunt like kids? You take a look at her. You think anybody wanted to lay down and say that's the woman who's gonna mother my children? Oh no.
No, no. And if she
She
didn't speak and you just saw her photograph, she's not a bad looking older lady. But it's
no.
not just
She
her.
looks like a bitch in every picture she takes. She
Fair
looks like
enough.
somebody. Like I said, if it wasn't for domestic violence laws, you'd backhand that bitch every time she thought to open her mouth in a
Yeah,
public space.
yeah. But I love the
She
comment though. I mean, because Bowser is literally the villain. It's his job.
the comparison no the comparison she made was specifically to the quote unquote manosphere, which has
Yeah,
become a
yeah,
freaking talking point to white
yeah. No,
liberals
it
at this point
was
because most of them don't even know
feminism.
what the
Yeah,
manosphere is, and they only point to Andrew Tate because he's the most polarizing of them all. Um,
yeah. He is a bit of an. He's a bit too much, isn't he? But anyway,
I personally
I'm
don't
on
get it.
time. I
That's
gotta
neither
finish
here
this
nor
real
there.
quick. The drama looks like a zombie movie. Made a little bit of money. 824. That's actually pretty good money for them, dude. Let me see real quick. The Great Awakening. Didn't really make any money. Um, Benjamin Franklin's story though. Oh, okay. All right. Interesting. Probably made him gay. Let's see. The Stranger. Yeah, it looks like they made him gay. This is a documentary. And last but not least, no, a little bit more money than the other one. Brazilian government, some kind of human story or something like that from a. I never even heard of it. Anyway, so there's that, guys. Interesting. The politic going on around the world, whether it be in actual government or in the theaters. But when you kind of put that aside and you just go tell a fun little story for the family, you get paid. You know,
And it doesn't even have to be that deep.
no,
Mario has
I'm sure
always
it's not.
been the definition.
Sure it's not.
Mario has always been the definition of his motivations is because the plot required it.
Yeah.
He's always been that. So anybody who's sitting there acting like, oh well, it's not Hamlet. Of course not.
No, that's true, and even Hamlet's not Hamlet. But and of course the reason why the feminists always hate on this stuff, particularly, is because this is the classic damsel in distress, and they hate that. They hate the damsel in distress storyline. But the thing I'd ask them if I had them in front of me is, well, then who's going to save the damsel in distress then, ma'am? Because you always seem to be in distress. Even as we speak, you seem distressed. So always we men always got to clean it up. Always good to clean it up, even if we're midget little frickin' plumbers. So But anyway, that's what I got for you. We took a little bit longer on Mass Effect than I had expected, which why I had to rush the ending. But that's all right though, because I didn't know anything about it. Now I get it. I know the whole story. I understand Mass Effect, and it sounds fun.
It's good.
I'd love to see a
It's a
series
good
on it.
time.
Dude, they could. You remember that spin-off of Babylon 5? What was it called? Crusade? Babylon 5 was a great storytelling show, by the way, and they had the crusade where they had to go find a cure for the disease that was dropped on Earth, right? By the enemy. But that whole it fell apart because they didn't really put enough love and support behind it. But it sounds to me like you could do that kind of thing with the Mass Effect and have a lot of fun with it, actually.
Yeah.
But anyway, so thank you very much for that, Thundero. Grimlock, you got some closing comments?
Um, Happy Easter,
Happy
everybody.
Easter.
I just watched Asmongold play that I Am Jesus Christ video game.
Excellent.
Wow. And hey, look, almost 40,000 people watched the whole way through. So,
Is it
I mean,
mocking or is it just legit?
no, no, it's not my game. It's
Oh,
not at all.
that's cool. That's
I
cool.
would I would say it was rather tastefully done, to be honest.
That's cool.
Um,
Well, Asmon, he's got an audience, Asmon.
and as you go through it, you see like stuff being written into the Bible as there's it progresses. Like some like whoever made it put a lot of time and thought and care into it, and it's a bold direction to make a video game of that
It
subject. But
is.
hey,
It is. It is. But good for them.
um,
I'll have to go check that out.
but also Easter is a good reminder to all of those to remember what's important in life. There's a lot of things out here you get stuck on that
Yep.
it comes and goes, and in the big scheme of things, and ain't really that
Yeah,
important.
go
So
watch the Mario movie. You'll be all right.
yeah,
Sure. Well, thank you. Very good. All right, guys. We'll see you next week. This week, I'm not really sure what's going on with the Bugbear's Basement. I'm kind of waiting for the crew to make a decision on what we're going to do. So I'm assuming we're still in hiatus. I don't know. I'm just waiting for to be told what to do. And then, of course, we have Drone Recorded this week, which should be a lot of fun. It is Mario. We're doing Mario this week. So
So far, Chester, the only person who answered was GOP, and he wants to play. So I'll wait and see.
I know GOP wants to play. I want to play. But
Wait and see.
it's kind of hard for me to do a show with two dudes.
Two dudes.
I mean, I could
That's a different kind of That's a different kind of show altogether. Two
a little bit,
dudes.
a little bit.
That's yeah.
Take us out of here before you get us in trouble. Don't
Me
want to
never.
piss the
I'm
gays
gonna
off.
do
Jesus.
since it is, in fact, still for the next 17 minutes in the United States of America in real time that matters. It is still the Lord's Day. It is the day of Resurrection Sunday, as it's called, or Easter Sunday if you're a filthy heathen. This is the day that the Lord, we celebrate the resurrection of the Lord Jesus Christ, where he conquered the final enemy in death, stomped death out, took death down there, stomped him under his heel, right on the neck, stomped the devil's neck, took him out. After his harrowing deep in the pits of hell, he returned, and I'm going to say one that I've had as my little message on Discord for a very long time, but it's fitting today. Every sunset leads to dawn.
That is true. Namaste. And keep in mind that tomorrow, after that clock ticks over, is the deadline for Iran.
Mm-hmm.
Later, everybody.
Kaboomy.